Subscribe to Dave's Multiverse on YouTube, Spotify.
Sponsored by Spores MD for your personal mind-body wellness journey.
Greetings, humans. We are about 6 minutes late, but we are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Rumble on Dave's Multiverse for NASA's Artemis II mission launch. Joining us is Jason, known as Shaman711 on YouTube and X. He's a delegate of the Institute for Natural Philosophy and co-host of the Shaman and Philosopher podcast. Jason, welcome back to Dave's Multiverse for Artemis II launch watch-along. How's it going, my friend?
Did you say I was delicate?
A delegate.
Oh, a delegate. Okay, I'm delegate of the Institute of Natural Philosophy. It's going well. Dave, how are you, sir? David, King David of the multiverse. You were just giving me a backdrop on some of the guests you got coming up, and indeed, sir, you are building quite your own little kingdom here. Proud to be here, man. Very much. Thank you for asking me, and excited, dude, to see whatever we're gonna see unfold this evening.
Yeah, man. Lots going on in the multiverse. It seems to be just taking it's a mind of its own. It's got a mind of its own. I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling it. It's going to take off. I'm going to show you guys some stuff that we got upcoming. We got some really cool upcoming guests. But first, I wanted to mention my editor's book, Deja Vu, Has Everything Already Been, by Alexander Cheshkovich, In Search of a Previous Lost Civilization. You can find that, the link below, on Amazon. Oleg's a pretty cool dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I like the title right off the bat, Deja Vu. It's catchy. Has everything been before? I don't, it's intriguing. I know nothing about it, so you'll have to tell me about it here a little bit. But yeah, he is a really cool dude. We do the Mars, right? Mars Disclosure episodes with him. And yeah, I'm just getting introduced to him, but he is a super chill and really cool dude.
He is, and he's sort of a young prodigy. He's like 23 years old, and he wrote this book when he was 17. I know, isn't that wild? You know how stupid I was when I was 23?
Yeah, not even comparable. We had a guy on the show the other day that I would have never guessed it. I was just engaging and had no reason to think of his age, and at the very end, he's like, yeah, I'm 25. And I'm like, oh, man. No way, really?
Oleg's one of those old souls, and this book is about the idea that civilization has repeated itself over and over again, and he uses a lot of science and a lot of esoteric stuff in there, and I mean, this is a serious book. It's not like a kid's book.
Yeah.
And what's wild is he wrote it when he was 17. So,
Wow.
yep. I also just wanted to mention that we're sponsored by Spores MD. If you want to grow some golden teachers, go to Spores MD. Use the
Are we
link
now?
below.
That's awesome.
Yes, we are now. For a couple weeks now, they reached out to us. They're a really cool company. You can get your spores and your grow bags and get it going. I got a closet right now.
Okay, I don't need the text messages or the DMs anymore, guys, about where you can safely obtain. Dave is informing you right now where you can handle that, so I'll reference you here.
Exactly. There's the link on Amazon today. The link's in the description for the book. Here is Spores MD. Check them out. Link down below. But yeah, we got a bunch of fun stuff to talk about today. So don't forget to like, subscribe to Dave's Multiverse as well as Shaman 711 on YouTube. We are going to watch the official launch of the Artemis II mission, the first mission back to the moon in 53 years, quote unquote. And we're going to watch that launch. It's going to be about I think we'll probably start tuning in about 15 minutes prior to watch, but I've been watching on and off all day. Have you checked it out at all?
No, so as I walked through the room, or as I picked up the phone for another purpose and scanned the headlines, I engaged with it as obviously objectively part of reality today. It's kind of everywhere. I just walked through a room and I saw the astronauts putting on their orange. Have they always been orange? Their orange outfits.
I think so.
I mean, last time I'm certainly. Okay, they were strapping in. They talked about. I saw. They talked about the fueling process, the cool part anyway, with the liquid hydrogen, is it, and oxygen?
I think so.
And they start at the bottom of the, I guess, tank, and sort of build their way up. So I engaged with that early this morning, just to see that it indeed was proceeding, which they say it is. I still haven't looked to see when they first announced this, because I'm curious. I mean, when did you hear about it, Dave?
I just heard about it like 2 days ago, but apparently they've been planning it since like 2019. I've pulled the info on that, and we'll get into that. But okay, it's weird that it just the timing seems weird. We talked about this on the phone earlier.
I didn't mean to send us down a rabbit hole. It's just that it's
a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. I'm just going to share this screen now.
We'll hold it.
I'm just going to share this screen now, but.
It's there's probably, a lot. I guess just culturally, man. I don't know. There's a lot going on, dude. So maybe it just doesn't seem like it did when we were little. It's like, I mean, I've seen the president talk several times, and I haven't heard about this. Have I? Maybe it's more cultural relativity. I don't know, but it just doesn't seems kind of quick and out of the sky compared to perhaps what we experienced when we were little, man.
I thought so too. Like everything, it was like a big deal every time there was this big shuttle launch, and then all of a sudden there's just so much shit happening in the world right now that it's like this like came out of left field. You can't really read this whole thing, so I'll read it for you. But this is straight from the White House. Tonight at 6:24 p.m. Eastern, for the first time in over 50 years, America is going back to the moon. Artemis II, among the most powerful rockets ever built, is launching our brave astronauts farther into deep space than any human has ever gone. We are winning in space, on Earth, and everywhere in between, economically, militarily, and now beyond the stars. President Donald J. Trump. What are your thoughts on that post, man?
We're gonna have to probably divide any of this pre-show into thoughts and gut reactions, because in the back of my head, Dave, and I would think in anybody's in Western society is the fact that it is April 1st, right? Yeah. So it's weird. I know they're worried about timings of the Van Allen radiation belt and all of that. So they're not worried about little measly holidays, but it just is weird. So you're kind of starting on that uneasy premise, when you're considering this thing that seems has all kinds of connotations to it.
Yeah, and Trump sure likes to flex nuts, doesn't he?
Well, it is. It is
Right?
a certain it's a brand, right? It's a brand of Americana, one could say at this point that he's sort of representing, and representing, swinging your balls around is sort of part of that.
Right.
I mean, it is the mythos, the sort of American cowboy gone, international, is
Militarily, economically,
technologically,
space, we're winning. Let's go, USA.
Right.
Meanwhile, the United States seems pretty divided, not even divided, but pretty against everything that's going on. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole necessarily tonight, but it's just interesting.
But it's true. It's there's a lot of color to all of this, and one can begin to see whatever through the blacks and the whites and the grays, and read certain things into it, which again we don't have to go through. Oh, really? 9:33? Is that the call signal?
I don't know what that is. I don't know exactly what the countdown is right now. I don't know what that 9:33 means.
From the get-go.
But we talked about this earlier today, Jason, on the phone about like how, this sort of thing sort of inspires the 10-year-old in all of us, right? Like,
indeed,
let's watch this fucking rocket launch and see what
Indeed.
happens.
It does. It inspires the youthful in us. I know, Dave, we're similar in years, though, and that is also colored with yet another traumatic story, right? The Challenger event happened in childhood. So even then, our youthful, desires and as you say, sort of ambitions for the stars were crushed, in sort of a mass trauma event. It was weird this morning. My daughter, I was catching her up over a quick little breakfast. I ran to her about the show, and I had to include, that. I had to. You remember the Challenger, because it well, not for any reason, but it's what we experienced, and so my remembering is colored by that. I had friends that lived down in the Cape, and I remember specifically, getting phone calls from them because they saw it, and hearing that experience,
Yeah, and then we also talked about how, like, now as 40 somethings or whatever, and especially in this day and age of confusion and misdirection and what's real and what isn't, we're kind of looking at this through both lenses right now,
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And again, anything that comes out of my mouth that might seem a little whatever, far leaning into a conspiratorial realm for anybody, you must keep the context involved, right? We are talking about, I mentioned the trauma of the Challenger, right? Dave, we don't have to go into it, but I personally, so the audience knows, I witnessed 9/11, that was part of my life experience, right? So we personally, and then we all, lived through our versions ever since then of sort of these mass traumas and weird things that have happened to us. But now it's everything so fast, man, every day, that something like this, something as momentous as a trip to the moon almost seems like a news blurb. Like, where did this come from? Why I remember my father was asking me earlier, he said, why are we going again? What's like their mission? Like, to show we still can.
It's to flex nuts while the world is like, going through turmoil, and we're trying to show America's number one. This is like Cold War and regular war at the same time, in my opinion. I wanted to just talk about that a little bit, like what the mission history is and timeline. I pulled this from Grok. The Artemis program, announced by NASA in 2019 to return humans to the moon for the first time since Apollo 17 in 1972. You sent me a thing about this, Shaman, but named after the Greek goddess Artemis and focused on sustainable lunar exploration. That's the goal, sustainable lunar exploration. But the Greek goddess Artemis,
being the protectorate of children and what was it, vulnerable or hurt children, particularly young girls.
Yes.
Yeah, in today's context, again, a rabbit hole we don't have to go down, but it just adds further color to what you and I were talking about, these sort of adult eyes, that whether we like it or not, the culture as it's unfolded, Dave, over a lifetime has sort of forced us to start seeing through if we want to hold on to our sanity.
Yep. I just wanted to shout out to the chat.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have Megan with me tonight, so I'm trying my best to do all the producer type stuff. But shout out to Rubate, Dixon, Yachin199. He says Artemis proving the world we can fly around hunk of hollow cheese but can't land on it. Sarah Cosmos, she signed. Where's that at? She signed up almost a year ago for the boarding pass. Do you have the message she sent you about that?
Yeah, I sure do. However, did I send it to you in X? It's probably on my Discord, which I keep off my PC. So let's see how I can remedy that. Let me send it to the X.
Don't worry, Rue. We're gonna have it full screen here. You can watch it with us. If you want to watch it on NASA, go ahead. But shout out to the chat. I don't know why the chat's like messing with me right now. But we got Brian Corey Dobbs in the chat. Blue Planet Red, award-winning documentary. Check it out. Big Moon Energy. That was the thumbnail because Jason and I got that big moon energy. Sam says this is going to be epic. And yeah, we got some people in the chat. So thank you so much for everyone joining.
And we unironically have a full moon tonight that, it's truly big moon energy, David.
Yeah, that is weird, right? That's a weird thing. I'm going to share a link about that that you sent
who in the chat is keeping a running checklist of weird things that are adding up?
That's not it.
We're not. But the pink moon, yes, because of the flora that spreads and blooms pink, not because the moon itself looks pink, right?
Yeah. This says, to clarify for everyone, the pink moon won't actually be pink. The name comes from the moss pink wildflower Phlox subulata that blooms this time of year, having a full moon exactly on the day humanity preps for the Artemis II launch is an incredible astronomical coincidence. If you ask my friend Scott Walter, there is no coincidences, okay? We recorded an episode with Scott Walter yesterday about his green jar findings and what that means about, the Christianity and the world in general. And
I'm intrigued to see it, dude.
Jesus might be an alien. I'm just throwing it out there. Jesus might be a half alien. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, the consciousness is certainly, alien to anything today's world would recognize. We can say
for
that
sure.
But I'm very curious to check out this episode, dude. And fortuitously, I have missed, I watched some of his AJ interview on the Y-Files, but I honestly have somehow missed even hearing the story. So your show will get to be my first sort of baptism, if we can, into the story, initiation.
What I like to do for my episodes is inform myself like on a baseline level, but I want my reaction to be natural. So I watched some of the AJ thing, but I was like, I want to hear this from the horse's mouth, not like secondhand, and then talk to him. I did have Cody of East 10 Outpost. Shout out Cody and my producer Megan as well on the episode. And it was it was wild. I don't know what to think. I'm going to share a short reel about it here real quick.
Do that. And Sarah, you'll have to tell us in the chat about Universe Unveiled. So, I mean, I can read the boarding pass, but yeah, Sarah's got somehow Universe Unveiled on an SD card, which was offered a while back on the rocket itself. So Universe Unveiled, of course, will quite appropriately be circling the moon. Should we actually be about to circle the moon?
Like, so she knew about it a while ago. I wish I did that. Like that. but I'm glad they did that. That's pretty badass, to be honest.
Well, there's a reason she's running PR, man. I mean, you know, she's a genius with things like this and just naturally on it. So yeah, Sarah, you'll have to catch us up with what that actually means in the chat.
Let's
brilliant job.
Yeah, brilliant job. That's so cool. Let's check out Scott Walter. Just a quick reel from fucking Scott Walter saying some stuff.
These were also in the jar with the scroll.
Shield, mace, helmet, beard.
Wow. And these are buttons, right?
Yeah, they're buttons. Yeah. See, there's a
Full-
piece of string.
Full suit of plate
There's a
mail
piece
armor.
of string attached to one of them. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it's a full suit of plate mail armor with a shield, a mace, a helmet, everything.
A knight.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there were 8 of them. That is not a coincidence. These were
So that is not a coincidence. And according to Scott Walter, there are no coincidences. What do you think about that, Jason?
So, well, look, I'm intrigued. You know, first of all, I have the impulse that probably a lot of people of our generation do. I mean, you see swords behind me, to have been into Templar lore, you know, for a while now. Like Timothy Hogan, followed that story, and of course, I've known Scott and followed his work for a while. But I'm intrigued, man. I want to know more about this. Any lore related to Christianity will then also catch my attention, right? So I really don't know. You got to remember, I'm at baseline sort of knowledge. Even the Randall interview, Carlson, I watched a bit of that, but, you know, got taken away before they got to covering the Jesus and Mary scroll. I suppose is that a correct way to say it?
Yeah. So, dude, he reads this shit with us, line by line, the translations they made from these Yeshua scrolls, which supposedly is from the hand of Jesus himself, the word of Jesus himself. And it's absolutely, if it's true, it's absolutely paradigm shifting. And it's a lot more concise in our episode, and the AJ episode's fantastic on the Y-Files, but we do it in 2 hours, and it's a really fun chat. And Scott Walter and his partner Janet are just super gracious and nice. And there's a bunch of really good messages in the episode about during this time of turmoil, transitioning from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. We're seeing it happen in real time, all this crazy shit going on, right?
Yeah.
And Scott's message is to look inward during this time more than anything. And I agree with that 100%. Do you?
To look inward, yeah, it's crucial, brother. It's kind of the only way, honestly. The more chaotic and confusing the outward environment and world gets, the more one should focus inwardly and on the local environment you find yourself in. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what's in front of your fucking face, you know? Like,
Exactly, bro.
Because there's so much shit happening right now that it's like it's easy to get caught up in it. And then what's truly important is your fucking front yard, your neighbors, you know, like
Yes.
your family, and also what's
Yes.
happening to you internally. How do you feel about what's happening in the world right now? Not how does everyone else and your opinions from everyone else feel, but how do you feel like about it, you know? And so I really thought it was a good message.
Yeah, I mean, simply with that, I'm totally on board, dude. I mean, I have to live that, and any of us that want to stay sane and properly grounded and directed have to live that, right? You know, I like you, probably, I glance at the world news. You know, I am a citizen of this globe, right? So I like to glean, but I'm more of sort of a speed reader, you know, and then sort of let it sit, and as you say, let my own intuition guide. But the second most important thing I do is, we're talking about the outward environment, right? And that affects the inward, right? So this looking within, right, requires a looking without onto things that you choose. Now, is it always going to be this sort of mass onslaught, right, of daily weird occurrences, such as heading back to the moon for the first time in a fucking lifetime for many on April Fool's Day? Or are you going to do my route
during a pink moon? During
the pink moon, man, with Mother Nature blooming in her pink and splendor across much of the desert area. Sure, there's that, but I try to, anybody that sees any of my work at least knows that I try to also spend my days, man, out in nature as much as possible, right?
As you should.
As you should, because that's going to keep you more in touch with who and what you are on the inside, It goes hand in hand, this process of looking within.
Totally agree. I'm super excited to hear what you think about the Scott Walter episode and the episode that's dropping next week with Paul Wallace, international best-selling author, former archdiocese and deacon of the church. This guy's literally helped perform exorcisms. He's spent 33 years in the church, and now he's coming to the same conclusion over his research that Jesus might be extraterrestrial, Jason. And I know you're a spiritual guy, so let's check this one out real quick.
Let's do it, man. Let's take a look.
It's this guy. I'm telling you right now, this guy is brilliant and very interesting. And I'll start promoting this episode next week. But let's check it out.
And what that meant was that there was a heap of sun worship going on in our ceremonies without me realizing that's what we were doing. So I never stopped to ask, why is there a symbol of the sun behind the head of Mary and Jesus and all the saints? What's that about? Why is there an ancient sun cross on the communion wafer instead of the crucifix of Jesus? Why is there a sun cross on top of the ciborium in which we put the people's wafers?
So I wanted to ask Jason, because Christianity is like full of pagan stuff, symbolism and whatnot. And these guys are tying it to like some pretty wild stuff. And the fact that the church had been basically consolidated and packaged into the New Testament for basically global control purposes and whatnot. And it went away from the original idea that it was a masculine and feminine idea of God, and it took us away from that. And that's kind of what I've learned from these two guys, that these episodes are dropping in the next couple of weeks. What do you think of that?
Wow. Okay.
Yep. That's a
masculine and feminine attributions to God. Well, I would say first of all that when you're talking past non-physical, you're going to be beyond attributions of male or female. Now, anything that is properly expressed as a human, a full appreciation of the human experience, must be talking about a human experience through both male and female expression. That's honest right there, right? So any faith, right, that is gonna put forth a full expression, why would it not include the expression of both the male and the female, so that it's all inclusive, and the manual is a little further fleshed out. Yeah, man, that was a lot you threw at me.
Well, you're going to have time to think about it and digest it if you watch my next two episodes. I don't really know how I feel. I definitely feel like the image of God is masculine and feminine. And I definitely am aware of the historical fact that the New Testament was consolidated, perverted into a masculine control system. And more than just that, a spiritual global
control system. And then that was the second part there. I totally agree with that. I often say it to people like this: when you look at the Council or whatever of Mycenae, right, where Rome, calls all the the Hebrew Council together to get advice on, if we're going to codify here, what do we do? Now, just imagine that happening today, dude, right? Like,
Right.
okay. Like, what's going to happen? The agenda is going to drive the show, right? And what those people are after, if you can at least try to defer their motives from history, right? Then you could see that, of course, it's much more about sort of nation building, than anything.
For sure.
And there was much information, which through the likes of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and whether or not we're going to include Scott Walter's scroll in this list one day, but we'll see. But the Dead Sea Scrolls, right, where you see evidence there of what was edited out, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why else were they burying it in the sand but to save it from the people that wanted to edit it out of the message, So control is inherent in what happened with religion, period, around spirit and, what we call faith and what is God or creator, whatever word everybody's comfortable with, right? Those are realities, that were tried to put in a human box to exert control in myriads of ways. Yeah,
Exactly. And it's a rabbit hole, so we won't go all down it tonight. We are here for the Artemis II launch, which I think takes place in 30. They're saying 37 minutes. I thought it was 20 minutes from now, so they must have pushed it back about 10 minutes. But that's okay. We'll fill the space. We got lots of stuff to talk about.
Standard delay. They have to warm up the cold fuel so that it's ready for takeoff, and somebody forgot to do that. So while they handle that, we'll talk about some. We do have plenty to talk about.
I've been thinking about the astronauts. I watched this part of it's been going live all day, and I watched this part where they came out of the gate and they got to say, like, it's not. They probably said their real intimate goodbyes to their family like yesterday. Sure. But it was like this interesting situation where they walked out, they faced up with their family, and it was on camera, and they were kind of giving a last little smile and joke and stuff like that. And being a fucking astronaut's crazy, right? I wanted to talk about these four people. Commander Reed Weissman.
Let's do that.
He's a veteran NASA astronaut, former Navy test pilot, and ISS Expedition 41 flyer. We got pilot Victor Glover, the pilot, ISS veteran, U.S. Navy aviator, and first black astronaut on a long duration in space. Shout out. That's fucking awesome.
So
mission.
They've got a black dude, a woman, and a Canadian. Oh,
yes,
no.
yes, they are going. They are going diverse here. Mission specialist Christina Koch, recent holder for longest single space flight by a woman, 328 days on ISS. And last but not least, mission specialist Jeremy Hansen, Canadian Space Agency astronaut and first Canadian on a lunar mission. Jason, did you ever have like I don't know, just like the dream or like the, just what it would like to be an astronaut when you were a kid? Think back to like when you were a kid and you had that childlike wonder. Did you have that?
I did. I mean, I really did, man. At the offset, just thinking about these astronauts, and then even as a kid, you're watching a human being ride a controlled explosion, and right. I mean, you grasp that even as a kid. You love fireworks, right? You love that sort of expression, right? That manly expression, or whatever you want to call it, male expression. Yeah, you really do. I remember. I guess I must have had a pretty deep obsession. I remember having one of the little. What were they? The first stealth bombers, the ones that had 3 points, right? The long and black and looked like a hawk. Well, I must have been like 6 or 7, Dave, and I remember having one of those. And I remember I had a dream. I still remember the dream where I was in my house, same house I was in as a kid, right? And on the street next to the house, one of those things pulled up, and it was like a lucid dream, right? Where I got out and I'm going out going, what the hell are you doing parked on my yard, in my street? And there was a pilot, and I remember going to talk to the pilot, and that's about when I woke up. But that memory, is what comes up when you ask about, did I have a fascination with these things? I did. I think it was inherent with being an American,
Yeah, definitely.
we couldn't avoid it. It was taught to us in school. The pride we should have in the moon landing and in our achievements. And we grew up during an era of many shuttle launches. It was a constant thing when we were little, man. It was always, it seemed, in the background, kind of like the Oliver North trials or whatever. It was just the government corruption. It was always in the background growing up as a child, and to the forefront with that traumatic Challenger event.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Claire with blue hair, thanks for joining. Says, can I watch the blast off live here? Why,
Claire.
yes, you can, Claire. That's exactly what we're going to do in 33 minutes.
You did it again. Look at it. There's 33 again, man.
There it is. Well,
I don't feel good. It's giving me a queasy feeling. I probably like the astronauts who are about to get on this controlled explosion field, huh?
I'm really hoping for the best here. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Everyone stays safe.
Yeah, let me take any negative connotations away from that. That's simply probably an effect of empathy, Dave. If I'm watching guys hop in a rocket to blast off in space, I can't help but kind of put myself there.
Everyone.
It's kind of like imagining staring off a cliff. You still get that shaking in your legs. That's still a sensation you'll get because your mind will accept, what the illusion you're broadcasting. Well, it's the same here. That's what I mean by getting queasy is just, I think the anxiety of the reality of a human experiencing that is wild, man.
It is. And I grew up watching movies like about space travel and stuff. One that comes to mind, and shout out Brian Corey Dobbs, is the movie Mission to Mars with Gary Sinise. And it was just this like epic trip that, the entire world was like engrossed with and paying attention to every second of it. Why is Victor Wembanyama, potential MVP of the NBA, talking right now? 7'6", having the best defensive season of all time in the NBA. But anyway, I don't know why
they're getting us okay with the idea of the Anunnaki before they show us the backside of the moon on this mission, and we see all the bases of the Anunnaki. That's why 7'6" is there. No, because it's a production. It's a production.
What's this dude's name? I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, that's right. Is that Ryan
Gosling? Yeah,
Gosling.
There's another Canadian up in there. Yeah, so that movie, amongst others, really sparked my imagination. And in the early days of this show, shout out my boy Mike, one of my good friends, used to be my co-host. Him and I would actually show these Starlink.
What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike? I don't know. Is he here? I hope he's here. We'd show some of these Starlink blasts off. I could watch these rockets take off all day if I was a kid and had time. Sometimes I wish I was a kid and had YouTube, but I'm a busy adult with shit to do. But yeah, man, we're gonna do that today with everyone. We're gonna.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to learn how this thing's even going to work with that capsule. Dave, if you don't mind, before you move on, you mentioned Brian, and I just want to shout out Brian Corey Dobbs as well, and man, thank him, and shout out all he's doing with Mars Disclosure Project, but also just personally, dude, he's been supporting me, and yesterday he did something that I don't know, it's probably nothing to him, right? But when I'm recording, Dave, I'm always thinking of motivations of why I'm out there recording or whatever, and sometimes you go, okay, what if I died today? All this shit I've been working on. What if I just went away, right, and my work stopped? What would I want to sort of be, the effect, the legacy? Well, Brian, he sort of touched me. He probably didn't intend to, but he just, threw out there, Jason, you're inspiring me to get outside more, and that just made me pause and think, about what a cool, right? Because that's an actionable sort of legacy if your brain were just to go, wow, what effect did I have? And to know that people were watching my stuff and just wanting to get outside more was really cool. So shout out Brian. All right, let's get back to this rocket then. Thank you, Brian.
Well, I wanted to shout out Brian too, because the stuff that he's doing with Blue Planet Red and John Ward and the entire Mars Disclosure community is bringing attention and awareness to Mars and the actual, what we actually know about Mars versus the mainstream media narrative. You see this all the time. I saw Brian talking about it today on X. People are going, oh, they may have discovered the signatures for life on Mars. No, they already did a long time ago, right? Yeah. And then also, there's been things going viral in the news. Pictures that we've shown on our Mars Disclosure Live show, which we're going live 4:30 Eastern with the entire Mars Disclosure Live crew here on
This
the Multiverse. This Sunday, yep, across all of our channels. We're going to broadcast it everywhere with
all platforms. There you go.
With Sarah from Universe Unveiled, with Jason from Shaman 71, with Ricardo at the Institute for Natural Philosophy, Oleg Cheshkovich on his channel, John Ward on his channel, my
Brian
channel,
Corey Dobbs,
Brian Corey Dobbs on his channel, and we're going to talk about this stuff. We're going to talk about the anomalies on Mars, the reaction to the media, the attention it's getting from the media. And I do believe that we're going to be showing some new anomalies as well. So I'm really excited about that. 4:30 Eastern. I don't care what channel you watch it on. Just go ahead and watch it because it's going to be streaming on all of our channels via Dave's Multiverse. So let's go.
Yeah, I'm always excited for the Mars Disclosure, man, because for me, it's one of those threads that when you pull on it, more's gonna fall out for you. You know, it is not a waste of time. It might take you a minute to appreciate the scope of what these Mars researchers are putting out there, and that's what Brian Corey's doing such a great job of, is trying to condense and focus and get this out there to the public. But it's worth a dive, guys, because once you do, you pull that string, and so much falls out of that burlap sack we call Mars, you know.
Rubate says, I thought Brian Corey Dobbs and John Ward were on this mission today. That'd be dope. Tammy, love ya. I've seen Project Hail Mary 2 times. I loved it. Yeah, excellent movie. There's also some weird we want to talk about some other stuff going on in this space environment today. Okay. Yes, my boy Stefan Burns, who I'm doing a second interview with tomorrow about basically the energetic centers of the planet shifting at basically the same time we're shifting from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. At the same time, all this global turmoil is happening. Stefan Burns is going to bring a geophysics perspective to all that. How is the planet responding to all this weird stuff going on? So look forward to that dropping in a couple weeks. But Jason, you sent me this earlier. I'm just going to go ahead and share it. It says, can you see that? It says
the solar storm. Earth is now experiencing the initial impact of a solar storm. A geomagnetic storm will begin today as a result, and NASA's Artemis II crew is expected to launch tonight under enhanced space weather conditions. So that's everything's weird. Enhanced, man, today, huh?
Well, that's weird, right? We got a fucking pink moon. We got a geomagnet. What is it again? A geomagnetic
geomagnetic. We've got a solar storm happening, right?
At the same time, which makes things even more interesting. And you know, Jason, I think that the Earth, the Earth is a living being, as far as I'm concerned. Like
it is
in the same way that you and I are these. Biological beings with trillions of biological beings living on and within us. The Earth is the same fucking thing, isn't
system. It? Yeah, I mean, you could definitely use the word of biological system, right? Obviously, it is the sum, and both the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? As above, so below, as everyone in the audience can understand, is what you just worded out. Quite precisely, that just as we are, so is our home organism or biological system here. This planet, with which we're about to attempt to use some fuels and blast off of here in 20 some odd minutes, huh?
Which is crazy, right?
At face value, it's just wild, especially when we already know about different systems that exist, wherever you are on ET disclosure and technology, right? I think there's enough out there to realize that there are other things at play here, and so why are we still using controlled explosions to, I don't know, man. It's just all weird. Who's got the checklist going? Because it's growing as we proceed closer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mars disclosure. Once you pull on this string of what's weird about today, it's a lot, man. It's a handful.
It is, and you know, it's my opinion that 0 point energy has been available for quite a long time, which is like, which has been covered up. But that's even another rabbit hole that we're not going to get into today, makes it interesting that we're about to shoot a controlled explosion into space right now. Screwdriver Tuning says, is anyone talking about the comet about to go through the sun's atmosphere, sun grazer? No, I haven't heard of that. Have you?
No, I haven't. But that does sort of circle us back before we get to, we've got 25 minutes here, where you were going with Stefan Burns, which again, I'm excited about. And Sarah in the chat, have you nailed down Stefan? She was dying to talk to Stefan. So bear that in mind if he behaves well for you tomorrow, which I know he will. I've been following him for a while. He seems so earnest, you know, and what I mean by that is just humble, you know, and I really like his work. So I'm excited to see you talk to him, man. But it's so intriguing to have, first of all, it's great to have him as a source for this info. We wouldn't know it,
definitely.
right?
Yeah,
definitely. You know, publicly. But yes, to see all elements converging. The moon is at its high, at its peak. The sun is going to do its peak thing. We're on a day that, at least for, I looked it up earlier, you know, 200 to 400 years has been known as quite a trickster day. You know, it's just the energy is abounding. You hit on it earlier, this transition period between Pisces and Aquarius, you know. It's an interesting time, dude. Terrence McKenna, I guess, said it best, was something I'll paraphrase. It's going to get weird, and then it's going to get a lot weirder. Yeah.
Buckle up. Actually, I did pull that comment that Screwdriver Tuning's talking about, so we'll take a look at that here in a second.
And we were going to touch on, Dave, the uptick of skyborne phenomena that they're claiming are meteors. Did we touch on that? I've already blanked on our program.
No, we haven't. I've got a whole string of X posts about it, but I want to hear from. Let's hear from Stefan Burns about it. How about that?
Brilliant. Perfect.
Yeah, let's hear directly from the man himself. Let's go share this tab. All right.
Explode over the United States, creating one. Geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We have just had another fireball explode over the United States, creating a sonic boom felt by thousands. This was on March 21st, 2026 over Texas. And this is now the latest in a long string of fireball sightings since March began, and it's starting to become very, very anomalous. This is not normal. This is not just, okay, well, we get this actually more than you think, and it's just the news running with the story right now. No, this is very, very bizarre. The fact that this is not associated with a normal meteor stream, like the Perseid meteor stream, for example, right? This isn't clustering around a period of time that we've identified that we get more meteors and fireballs. A fireball, for reference, is a meteor that shines bright enough to be seen during the day. Basically, that makes it brighter than the third brightest object in our sky, which is Venus. That is the definition of a fireball. And if they are large enough, they can actually crash down and you can recover fragments. And we have fragments now from 3 of these fireballs, the one in Germany, Ohio, and now Texas. And they can also create these sonic booms. That shock wave can shake houses, and of course people can hear it, they can feel it. So this is quite significant. This is the latest one over Texas.
Hey, Tammy.
We got this from a live stream of a baseball match, and we see it coming down there. It also got picked up on satellite imagery, because as this meteor is coming in, it is creating plasma in the atmosphere. So it actually shows up as a lightning strike from some of our observations from space. So this would be our GOES East satellite looking at Texas. So this is quite significant. Again, the latest in a long stream of fireballs that we've been encountering, not associated with any debris stream. I'll talk about where I think that these may be from, though. I've talked about it before. You probably already know the answer if you've been watching. But here.
So I watched that whole video, and it's not just like people seeing it on the Ring doorbells and people pointing cameras up and seeing more of this than normal. There is a legitimate 300% increase in fireballs. And that's wild. I don't care who you are. Shout out to geophysicist Stefan Burns for the info. Check him out at Stefan Burns. Don't go over to his channel because he's doing a live stream during this right now. Okay, if you want to, go ahead. I don't care. He's my friend. But yeah, geophysicist Stefan Burns, huge uptake. A lot of takes on this is it might be satellites crashing and things like that. I'm going to share an interesting link about satellites around Earth. This is from, let's show it from this view instead. This is from satellitemap.space. Okay. You can see all these fucking satellites. If you switch it to let's see here, let's go type,
and they're moving at high speed, which you can almost imagine that is a complete shell of spaceborne debris.
Oh,
really.
Debris is part of it, man. So here is the, hold on a second, here is the let's see here, types, internet. This is what's creating our internet. Okay, no, this is what's creating our internet. This is global communications. Okay, these are global communication satellites.
Right.
Crazy. This is global positioning satellites. So this is what like tells my car where I'm going and that where there's police coming and whatnot. This is global imaging. So this is scanning the Earth. Okay, global imaging. These are geostationary satellites. This is a wild little ellipsis of satellites. These are geosynchronous satellites right here. These are all the functional satellites that we have going on around the fucking Earth.
Whoa.
How crazy is that?
Dude, it's kind of grossing me out.
It's weird, right?
I feel like when you walk on a
think about
beach
this.
full of litter and not sand, I'm just getting that weird, creeped out feeling, man.
There's the Milky Way there. There's the fucking sun. This is weird. And you know, I don't think about this every day, you know, and then when you really take a look at it, it's like, what on earth? Now, you mentioned debris.
What would that look like from afar? I mean, would it look like, depending on reflection of sun? I mean, like you know, Saturn or something with rings? What? That's, you know, I'm trying, my mind is going, this can't be common. You know, if life's out there, how many planets are coated in remnants from the Earth that we cobbled together and sent up and made a basically movable shield to reflect information around? That's wild.
It makes me wonder about the math they have to do to not only get through all this to get to the moon, but also get through the the Van Allen radiation belt, which is a point of contention with the moon landing deniers. But you meant debris here. Look at this,
I meant it's essentially debris. If you're not from this planet, especially, and concerned with its function, it's just moving shit, metal and plastics and whatever else they make these satellites out of, right?
This is straight up debris, bro. Metal and plastic elements from the Earth that are no longer in action. Okay.
Right.
And here is everything. All right. This is wild. Actually, it says cannot reach data server. Weird. Let's try it again.
They don't like your messaging, bro. They don't like your messaging.
No. Let me refresh it and see what happens. But I wanted to show everything. Hopefully it lets me. It's not letting me. We'll wait till it comes back. Let's get back to the.
It does make you marvel at the mathematics alone of.
I know, right?
Like this, dude, of sending this shuttle through that mess safely.
Yeah.
Is it boggles my non-mathematic leaning mind.
Totally.
Because all I see is, you know, it's like, remember as a kid when you used to lay down and look at the ceiling and the fan blades were spinning? Did you ever do this? And you'd have a ball or something and you try to throw it through the fan blades because they're moving so fast. You're like, but still, I can do it. You know, it reminds me of something like that, dude, like hardly possible. Just out here as a layman looking at this.
Yeah, totally. And just so everyone knows, because you can't see it on the screen right now, we have 21 minutes and 53 seconds till launch time. And you're going to be able to watch live with Dave from Dave's Multiverse and Jason Shaman 711 of the Institute for Natural Philosophy. We're going to watch this thing pop off live. And that's crazy.
It's wild because I just heard about it. And yeah, we're going to watch humans load on some exploding gases and go wee all the way to around the moon for the first time in, is it 53 years? Wow. Even the fact that that sentence just came out of my mouth, I feel like this should be rehearsal for a fiction. It's very impactful. Is one way to say it, and let's hope it's not impactful. I hope they make it around the moon and don't hit it. But I want to talk about the dark side of the moon. We haven't hit on that yet. And
sure, go for it.
Have you looked into whether or not I hear they're doing a live transmission. This entire sort of
They're going to go around
right?
it, yeah.
Yeah, so are they going to somehow still live transmit from the back side? Because, in NASA lore, right, in all conspiracy theory land, but also in actual fact, they say that, when they went around the back side of the moon, there was no communication with Houston or whatever back in the day because you're literally behind the moon. And, of course, that, according to all the good lore and the good supposedly scrubbed photographs, is where all the structures and very strange, seemingly constructed oddities are. Is on the backside, which conveniently we never see from Earth. Yeah.
Well, haven't the Chinese been to the backside of the moon and got some pictures and samples and shit? I'm pretty sure they have.
I saw a story that they were back there, and at least the one I said was harvesting hydrogen or something. They'd found a way to harvest one of the properties needed for further space travel, I suppose, was the point.
Yeah. I'm trying to get this to work here. Yeah, there we go. All right. Let me share this. This is what I was trying to share earlier. Uh-huh. This is everything that I showed, including debris. What the bleepity bleep?
Yeah, it's like we've got an exoplanet going on.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what it's like.
It's insane, man.
And to keep zooming in, look at this. Like, how is that even like that? It just blows my mind that there's literally that much shit up there orbiting the Earth that we just flung up there,
It really does. I have a friend whose daughter actually works for the DOD. Well, I guess it's the DOW now or whatever. And her husband's in the Space Force. Anyway, she designs satellites and these satellite trajectories and all. And yeah, I've often dreamt of just, okay, give me an hour and explain to me roughly what that looks like, because it does boggle my poor little mind.
It does. Mine too. And I wanted to just read a little bit more about the mission. It's not too much. So apparently the Artemis I flew an uncrewed in November 2022, a successful test of this rocket in Orion spacecraft. So that was Artemis I.
Okay.
And
this thing kicked off in 2019 is what you said, right? The Artemis sort of mission concept.
Correct.
That's odd. That was a rough year for things not to trust.
I would say so. It's supposed to be a 10-day mission, so we're going to be able to follow along on a 10-day mission along this thing and supposedly get it live streamed, which is fucking crazy.
That's wild, man. I'm very excited to see potentially, well, first of all, a first-hand perspective of arriving at the moon, but necessarily the backside, which has, in our, at least the human, information we've been granted access to has been restricted from, that's sort of like the Marianas Trench in the ocean or something, just that last, reach we can hope to get. I'm curious, too, what makes this the furthest we've ever went, I guess, because of how far out they're going from the moon, because we've been around it before.
Yeah, I think they're doing a wider loop, I guess. And as you guys can see, we are 20 minutes from countdown.
That's so the pictures can be blurrier, man. So they have an excuse as to why we can't see precisely what it is back there. It's a joke.
Well, hopefully we get to see. I haven't actually looked into that, but I want to see. I think everyone wants to see. I remember seeing some like pictures. The Chinese like grabbed some like weird sludge from the backside of the moon and like did an analysis on it, but I could be just making shit up. But here's one of the things, like, I can get sucked into the we didn't land on the moon conspiracy theory pretty easily. But when you look at this, what we're seeing right now, all the people just in this one room,
right,
and all the people involved, there's tens of thousands of people involved in these projects. And it kind of throws the moon landing thing out the window, even though we basically have proof that some of what they showed us was for propaganda purposes. It was filmed in a fucking theater, because back then they couldn't really show us stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think it was probably a mix, none of which, added to our trust. I think the moon is even weirder if we allow for the fact we landed on it, because of some of the data that was collected with these landings, such as the Bell reverberation test, where essentially proving, it would seem, that the moon is largely hollow or has large empty spaces within it.
Supposedly it rings.
Yes. So data like this makes the mystery even greater, So I kind of like the it was both, that there were definitely films when you look at them that were propagandized, that were not real and accurate. And
100%.
I do believe there's been some, videos from NASA that were just not, believable as real, even up through modern times. And we know from our Mars disclosure work that they are not completely honest with the pictures they put out to the public, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, I do lean towards, I like the data that comes from having been to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it was probably a bit of both.
I agree.
You use propaganda and you're not doing yourselves any favors for trust. And so you allow room for all the conspiracy theories to gain a foothold because, oh, look, you did lie, right? You did. This was faked, this part. And so that does no favors when it comes to people, trusting you or trusting an alternate theory.
Shout out to Jay Quells, Jacqueline, co-host of Universe Unveiled. She says, hey, y'all. She's another delegate of the Institute for Natural Philosophy. Rubate says, yes, it was. We weren't actually there for the launch. Everyone else was. We had a day off from a polo club in Lake Worth where we were drudging and just wanted to have a drink. This comes from our earlier post where he says, I was in a bar in Florida with two other Aussies when the Challenger shuttle blew up. It was quite a loud and fun crowd with the launch and a big TV. Everyone half cut, a brutal moment. I'll never forget it. So yeah, we had talked about that. And here's the thing, guys. All these fireballs, people are saying satellites. People are saying, there's a bunch of theories going on. Stefan Burns, I think, has the most logical theory in regards to this. What on earth is that? Is that you or me? Can you hear that? I don't know what that was. No. But I wanted to show what Stefan Burns' theory is from the Sky Live. Okay, we're going to share this tab instead. I'm going to check out what it looks like. So this is 3i Atlas's journey through the solar system. Okay, I'm just going to press play on this. So what Stefan Burns says is this journey through the solar system of 3i Atlas, which was the interstellar object that crossed through our solar system last year, potentially created some disruptions in, the geological matter within the solar system.
The immediate microenvironment of our planet, yeah.
Yeah, which is now leading to what we're seeing right now. Which is, I know. What do you think about that?
I like that, dude. I mean, it does make sense. The only question, and it may be a false one right off the bat because of AI, and I haven't had time to look into it, but I know I've seen, and you've probably seen, a few videos put forth of some of these air objects, not all of them, exhibit strange behavior. You saw me do that with my hand a minute ago. I remember there was one in maybe Mexico in the past couple of days that seemed to do that, So things like that certainly make me lean towards, I don't know if those are real. Then the satellite imagery you were showing makes sense, in this modern world where hot wars and cold wars are erupting all around us. A space
Yes.
war certainly is within the realm of possibility, knocking each other's satellites down. But this 3i Atlas is intriguing. I know Jean Ward, he showed us images even from Mars of this thing either doing just what you and Stefan Burns, described, disrupting stuff or ejecting potentially,
Yeah. Oh, it
debris,
did eject. Yeah.
yeah. So it makes perfect sense that, of course, something this large and fast coming through, and it exhibited so much weird behavior. I'm not the scientist, so I won't throw perihelion and all that around. But it exhibited non-normal behavior its whole route. So naturally, again, the system. We say the Earth is a system, right? And you talk about it all disrupting. Well, the sun, how is that also coinciding with the systems here on Earth? So when you have an outside anomaly such as this enter into the system, even at the quantum level, dude, they know that an improbability occurs. What else occurs? More improbabilities. They're drawn to that improbability. So as above, so below. If something enters our system from out of it, it's going to disrupt shit in ways we can't quite fathom or computate.
Well, agreed. And I think it disrupts a lot of weird stuff, like even our own individual biology, as this thing has an effect on the solar system. It has effect on the Earth. Then it has an effect on us. And it makes sense to me, dude, that the reason why we're experiencing these all these upticks in fireballs is literally due to this. Okay. I don't think it's any other, weird conspiracy theory. However, I must say that there's a lot of distraction going on right now. We got a fake Jim Carrey. We got wars. We got NASA going to the moon. We got 3i Atlas. We got fireballs. And
we got the Earth going crazy. The weather is going wild. Central North America right now is erupting with tornadoes every day, it seems like.
yeah,
We've got Easter. We've got predictions and dates and everything one could hope for if you wanted to find yourself in an extremely chaotic and confusing environment. You'd be right at home here.
And speaking of which, Screwdriver Tuning mentioned this particular. This is the first I've heard of this. Where is it?
Hatch is closed, cleared for takeoff, says Sarah in the chat.
Let's go. We're going to tune in about 15 minutes, 10 minutes prior. We're just killing time. Object C 2026 A1. This thing is supposedly going, it's supposedly on his way. I'm trying to figure out how to play it, how to move it right now. But supposedly this thing's going right at the sun. I don't want to spend too much time trying to do this live, but this thing is going towards the sun. No one's talking about it.
Potential impact? I mean, it's like heading directly towards it.
Supposedly, according to Screwdriver Tuning. Now,
I'm
not able to play it in the same way that I was able to play the other one, but here we can see it approaching the sun. Which is really weird. And again, we've got a system of satellites, organic material, inorganic material. It's not just you as a human. All this stuff affects us. It affects I believe the global systems, including economic, military. All this stuff is ramping up at the same time, and it's not a coincidence, as Scott Wolter would say.
No, coincidence takes planning, and there's a lot of that on many levels, Dave. And as you say, everything interacts, man. As I would say, everything physical has a non-physical or a spiritual, whichever word you're comfortable with there, dude, echo, right? And it's the same with when we look at our bodies and our health, and when we take in natural things from this planet versus non-natural things. Everything has a cause and an effect in the system, and that's what we're seeing with our local system. Is it's all responding with the, as you say, coincidentally placed energy of the humans that find themselves on top of this system at the moment. And look at that little capsule on top of this rocket that we are about to blast off to around the moon for the first time in 53 years. Dave, I want to be excited. I want to be fully excited, but I've got what you talked about, that adult in me that's seen so much, man, that I'm just not letting myself go to my excitement. I am hyper curious though, dude. That is for sure.
Screwdriver Tuning says going through the atmosphere very close. That's at C26A1. It will, he said, disintegrate into pieces. Correction. Ricardo Calvario, our good friend. This is where everyone is.
Boss man in the house. There he is.
Ricardo, I really want to know, are you excited about this? Do you have a childlike wonder about this rocket about to take off in 15 minutes? Or are you like skeptical by all of the adult plaque and everything that you've learned in your lifetime about and all the weird stuff that's going on in the world? Is this a coincidence that this is happening right now, Ricardo? I really want to know. If you feel like joining the chat, joining the live stream, tell me and I'll send you a link. But
if anyone has childlike wonder about the scenario, it is Ricardo. Although I think you and I are doing fairly good in that category. I'm just not there, man. And it's such a weird time as we sit here and list. Dude, no matter which way we go, we're finding coincidences that all converge, around this time, not just this matter. But that's what we've been conversating on. Essentially, are the echoes that are rippling right now through our entire system, through our consciousness, through our bodies, through the entire solar system. Therefore, I would imagine the galaxy, which is why I wore my Peace and Blessings shirt. I figured there's a chance that this might be an intergalactic transmission here, dude. I'm curious. I mean, if you're going to pick a source on Earth to watch the controlled explosion that's going to go out into space, why wouldn't you watch these two dudes? So peace and blessings to our intergalactic family.
I wanted to say, too, the Institute for Natural Philosophy, doing great stuff, a lot on the horizon. We got Jason, Jacqueline, Sarah, Ricardo, and many others on the board. And lots of cool stuff coming out from them very soon. We've also got two podcasts.
Pharaoh's Magazine.
Pharaoh's Magazine. Is it the second edition, third edition? Where are we at? Third edition of
Three
Pharaoh's
Parade
Magazine
continues. Yeah, third edition.
If somebody from the Institute could drop that in the chat, the link to that in the chat, that'd be great. Because I don't have that right now, and I haven't had a chance to look at it. Ricardo ought to have it handy. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but we've got the Shaman and Philosopher podcast. What's going on there, man?
So we might be going live after this. We might be going tomorrow. I don't know. Ricardo's been very busy. I've been on vacation with the girls, which anybody that follows me on social media, I did a few sunset pictures. So yeah, and I've been busy plugging forward with my own video series that kind of is in the works here. But yeah, Ricardo and I will be together either later tonight or tomorrow for our weekly show where we focus on really each of our work is kind of what we've gone to. And we've been centering our guests around the Roundtable Chronicles, which has been a really nice format with Rick Osman and Vince Barrows sort of anchoring the table with us. And then we bring guests on for the past 2 weeks. We had Heather Arnold and then Copper Violet. So really enjoying that. So with that in mind, Ricardo and I figured since we both kind of have so much of our own work and research going on that we'd bleed and focus more on our own stuff during the Shaman and the Philosopher. So there you go, man. There's the the update on what's going on with the Institute's podcast, and of course, Universe Unveiled, moving forward like gangbusters, and even sending their name registered here on an SD card to around the moon. Although, what did Ricardo just say? You highlighted that.
Yeah, Ricardo. I need more information.
We need more info, dude. Yeah.
Ricardo, can you jump in here and talk about
Thanks
this?
for making me a liar about your childlike wonder, by the way. Ricardo just comes right back with, they're not going.
I'll send you a link if you want to jump in, but we've got 11 minutes, 47 seconds to go. Ricardo says, see the flight plan. They're not going around the moon because they are in a perpendicular trajectory. I'm not smart enough to understand what the hell he's talking about. So Ricardo, give us a little more information. He says, how are they going to come back if there's no moon to pull them? I don't know.
We don't know what you're saying. You'd have to come on and do that in English out of your mouth, bro. I don't know.
Rue says, hello, Ricardo. They haven't taken off, and you have a conspiracy theory going. He says, just stating the facts, Rue.
I'm not gonna say.
He said
mine.
send the link, so I'm gonna send the link right now. If you want to fill the air while I do that.
Sure, fill the air. Yeah, I'm not gonna even go into conspiracy theory territory. We'll let him do that because they abound. Rue, if you've been watching so far, that we talk about all the coincidences, the events, the actionable items, the forecasted items, the unverifiable items, the etheric and the physical that are all converging here around this event and this time. I mean, conspiracy theories should kind of be where you start, honestly. But I am hoping I get to see the backside of the moon, Ricardo. So I'm not sure I'm excited about the fact they're not going to be going around it. Hey, tell me, we'll fill the air with this. Did you see a story? I saw a story that was framed. It mentioned not landing on the moon, and it mentioned it in the sense that, they're choosing not to land on the moon this time because of something to do with the launch window and the window available around the moon to land safely, I suppose. I thought that was an added weirdness. Why was that storyline put out? I didn't know they thought about landing.
I didn't know that either. We officially hit the 10-minute countdown, though.
T minus. I just saw it, and again, just another oddity, man. Somebody, told somebody to print that story. It's weird.
Well, Ricardo's going to come on here in a second and tell us about what. There he is.
Hey, now we don't have to do the shaman and the philosopher. We just crashed. We crashed the show here, so this can count. No,
yeah,
boom.
Mr. Ricardo Salvario, the president of the Institute for Natural Philosophy, joining us with 10 minutes left. It looks like they paused it again. We're not quite there yet. They keep kicking it back. We were supposed to be filling the air for 52 minutes. We've been officially filling the air for 1 hour and 16 minutes till this countdown.
They paused it when they heard Ricardo was coming on.
Greetings. Thank you for having me in. And no, Jason, you are not free of the hook. You still have to do the show.
You guys are doing a show tonight?
I don't know.
Either tonight or tomorrow. We don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Jinx.
So
we'll see what you put us through.
You saw the orbit plan, Ricardo.
So if you go to the Artemis II X account, it's the first post. It shows.
I'm going to take a body break, and I'm very thankful, Ricardo, because I didn't think I was going to be able to do this. I'm running to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Sure. Tell me, pull up what? Artemis II what?
On X, the first post they have pinned is the flight plan, or it was 2 days ago. And on that flight plan, you see that while Apollo missions did a parabolical flight plan in order to come behind the moon to catch it, right? This is going straight at the moon. And if you see the flight plan, by the time they start to turn around, there is no moon there because the moon has already passed. So I don't understand what they are going to see.
Is this what you're talking about?
It's Artemis II official page.
Okay. So why would they be bullshitting this?
No, they are going around the orbit of the moon, not the moon, because they are straight at it. Do you understand what I'm saying? The moon is going by, and they show that on the footage. the moon is on the image they created. The moon is going by, and they are coming. So if it is an Apollo, you have the moon here, and they travel to follow the moon, right? And either orbit it or land. They are not going to do this following the moon. They are straight at the moon, which means when they start to turn around, the moon is already here. It's no longer there.
Huh.
So they need the gravitational force to help them turn back. So I don't understand. And the first phrase on the X official account or Artemis II is, it ends with, they will always find their way home. That's how they finish the sentence. They will always find a way.
They will always find their way home.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the page right now.
Let me see if I can find it and send you the link if you're not.
Yes, please. I appreciate that. We have officially. Let's see where they're at in the countdown. Shout out everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. They've paused it 10 minutes. They've got it stopped on 10 minutes. Screwdriver Tuning is saying they don't need the moon's force.
That I don't know. I can precise.
Launch window just after CME. They got a wavelength wrong. It's still hitting. So they're waiting on this geomagnetic storm that Stefan Burns predicted that might cause an issue here. I'm just going to read off some facts, potential facts about this thing while you're doing that. But supposedly this is the first crewed mission beyond low Earth orbit in over 53 years, the first humans heading to the moon's vicinity since Apollo 17 in 1972. The 4 astronauts will travel farther from the Earth than any humans ever have, about 4,700 miles past the moon on a free return trajectory. Is that what you're getting at? Free return trajectory? That seems like what Screwdriver Tuning's talking about.
Yeah, it might be. It looks like it.
It's the first time humans will fly aboard NASA's SLS rocket and Orion spacecraft together in deep space. They tested this out with the Artemis I mission. The crew will experience a total communications blackout with Earth for about 45 minutes while passing behind the moon. There we go, Ricardo. While passing behind the moon, we got a 45-minute blackout. That's exactly what Jason was talking about. I get it, but at the same time, isn't that what everyone all wants to see, you know?
Let me see. I think I found it. Just a second.
With all those satellites,
send it in the private chat.
We can't have a satellite on the other side of the moon that can relay messages. I mean,
I don't know. We have a shitload of satellites. Artemis II is testing laser optical communication for the first time on a crewed deep space mission. Way faster data than radio. So supposedly we're going to get some almost real-time stuff. Re-entry will be the fastest ever for a crewed vehicle. Orion slams into Earth's atmosphere at nearly 25,000 miles per hour on re-entry. Holy shit. Imagine being that astronaut. I just think about I got that. I just think about being in the military and gearing up for a crazy dangerous mission and the type of response your body has to that. And then I think about this.
brutal, right? Not something we are designed for at all.
No.
None of it makes technological sense, does it? That really? I mean, Elon is landing rockets backwards on boats in the ocean. And really, we're still crashing back in at deadly force and speeds in a tiny capsule that can't send a small vehicle ahead of it around the moon so that it's able to relay messages between Earth and the shuttle. I mean, these are basic things that if you were asking me or any young child to help out with NASA, I'd be like, yeah, man, here, do this. And you'd be talking. There wouldn't be a 45-minute blackout.
Screwdriver Tuning that says there's no way there needs to be a blackout. I agree. I'm about to pull up the what Ricardo said. Let's find that. 1 second. Here it is. So
that is not exactly the one that I saw on the official page of Artemis II that I no longer can find on X.
Interesting.
But it's very close to what I saw, and you will understand what I'm saying by looking.
I thought I was sharing it already. Let me just share that again. Sorry, my bad. At least we're on we're on wait. So
yeah,
we've
the
got
clock, the
time.
countdown clock audience is stuck at T-10 for a while now. So
Yep. What are we looking at, Ricardo?
So that's the flight plan. They are going to slingshot around the Earth because we are so primitive. We don't know how to gain speed enough.
I saw they had to do it twice. Yeah, around the Earth.
And then we are going to intersect the moon perpendicularly instead of following it. So when we turn around, there is no moon.
Sucked.
There is
I
no
see
moon
that.
there.
That's weird. and now you can't see it on their official page.
So what they are going to photograph is the little bit of the moon as they come perpendicularly and highly decelerating because they have to start to turn back.
Yeah.
And and the moon is passing. So I'm very curious to see what they will be able to do. And today I watched when I was coming here in the car, the news were saying the NASA guy was saying that the objective of this mission is just to go around the moon and come back home. So they're spending millions, if not billions of dollars to go around the moon.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why.
They're blacking out the back. Go ahead, Dave. Why?
It's the flex nuts. We talked about that right at the beginning. The military
or to cover up
industrial
for having flexed nuts on camera at one point. I mean, who knows?
the military industrial complex is ramping up, and you better believe space, the Space Force and the space race is part of that. And Trump literally posted today, we are winning the space race, the economic race, the military race. To me, there is no coincidence here. I don't know about you guys.
Why haven't I heard about this from the leader before? I mean,
maybe we have. There's just so much shit.
Okay. Go ahead, Ricardo.
I don't know what to tell you. I just, the only thing I can tell you is they're putting as much in our plate as they can.
It's flooding the zone, man. I talked about this with I guess on your guys' show, didn't I? When Ricardo wasn't there, it was just me, Jason, and Sarah.
Yeah.
And it's a PSYOP technique called flooding the zone. And essentially, they're throwing everything they can possibly throw at us, to include a fake Jim Carrey doing a humiliation ritual at a award ceremony in France, to get everyone talking about shit that's not relevant to the fucking evil that has infested our systems. And I'm sorry, but that's what it is.
Just give us Jim Carrey back.
Yes, please.
Where is he?
For the love of God. For the love of God, where I actually think that was Jim Carrey doing a humiliation ritual. Yeah, something like that. He knew too much. He was saying too much. They compromised him. They gave him fucking weird plastic surgery, which is something he would never do. They made him go up on stage and graciously accept a ridiculous award, which is something Jim Carrey would never do. Then he sheepishly climbed off stage and did this interview where it was him, but it wasn't him. And I call that a humiliation ritual. That's what I call that.
Makes as much sense as any explanation I've heard.
My only question to that is, and I watched the speech he made in French, and I didn't see much of Jim Carrey. I saw probably 5 to 10% of the normal character of Jim Carrey there.
So
and his face wasn't there. But my point is this: after so many controversial times and questions, and the audience and the fans and all asking who was that person, was that Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey has been in the last 10 years a very public person. He comes out, he speaks his mind, and so on and so forth, for better or for worse. He didn't come forward. Where is he? Why didn't he come forward and say, hi, it was really me. This is how I look now. Okay? Nothing. The only thing that was said, it was the guys that gave him the award, gave a public testimony, saying a public testimony, I don't know how to call it, saying that it was the real Jim Carrey and they would not have a fake one. It was the real one. And that's the only thing that I heard supporting their idea. Where is Jim Carrey? Why doesn't he come forward and say,
I can tell
"Hi"?
you why.
Here's Can I add to
ahead.
the Jim Carrey weirdness, the loop? Go ahead, Dave. If you're going to tell us why.
Well, I can tell you why. The reason why you only seen 10 to 20% of him is because the Jim Carrey that we know, that we saw in the 90s, whether it was on movies or late night talk shows, yada yada, from the mouth of Jim Carrey himself, that's a character. Every single one of his movies, post comedy movies, was about identity and whether or not your identity is real, and reality and whether or not reality is real. And what we saw was exactly what you said, Ricardo, a 10 to 20% diminished version of Jim Carrey, who was fearing for his life and was doing what he was told in an attempt. It's all about the flooding the zone psyop. We have to keep that in mind. Okay. The reason why we no one barely even talked about this launch until 2 days ago is because they're just throwing shit at us constantly. Literal fireballs from the sky, guys. And the Jim Carrey
Alien
thing
disclosure.
was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go and see the last 2 or 3 years of Jim Carrey, he was appearing in events to turn them down to the reporters, and sometimes he didn't even go inside. Right. He went into the most famous American TV shows and started making triangles and pushing his tongue out, screaming Illuminati and so on and so forth.
Yep.
And then he grew that enormous beard and starting saying that he was going to the roots of what it was to being a human and spirituality. And then we have this disfigured person, that some guy that usually impersonates public figures by money when they don't want to be present is coming out and saying, yes, I was contracted to do Jim Carrey. He's the mask that I use. He's showing all of it, right? Is it true or not? I don't know. But the guy is known by replacing public figures with masks.
That sounds like something an MK Ultra, survivor would say, man.
So he does.
I mean, I'm not alluding.
This guy must be an andronicist because he does women and men at the same time.
So you want to add? Look, I don't know what happened with the Jim Carrey, but here I'm going to add to it, guys. I'm just going to add to the weirdness around it. So another thing we haven't mentioned. Let's add to the checklist of weirdness going on around all of this now. You saw the story about Matt Gaetz, former senator or Congressman Matt Gaetz, says that in one of his SCIF meetings, or his confidential meetings, that he was educated and shown information about an alien hybrid breeding program that supposedly was using kidnapped humans from, I don't know, sub-Saharan Africa or Honduras or somewhere to breed with off-world entities. Now, Matt Gaetz, guess where he grew up? His house, coincidentally, again, let's coincidence checklist. It was in a little town down in the panhandle of Florida called Seaside, I think is the name of it. Well, that's the town where they filmed The Truman Show. And coincidentally, Matt Gaetz grew up in the house that was Truman's house in The Truman Show.
That's very interesting.
I don't know what it is, man, but it's another layer that just does not simplify the massive intentional psyop and chaotic shit show that is being stirred and foisted upon our experience of reality if we choose to tune into it.
Well, go ahead, Ricardo. Actually, Ricardo, I'm going to take a body break too. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Sure. Ricardo, fill the air.
I was just going to ask, what happens if we fill a space with oxygen and then light a fuse, like a flashlight or a lighter, or any kind of fire brought into that environment?
An accelerant, yeah.
It explodes, right?
But
so we have 4 people. This is how technological advanced we are. We have 4 people atop a gigantic tank of liquid nitrogen and oxygen, and then they light a fuse beneath the rocket and control the explosion until these people are in space.
Yeah, there's a couple of lead-up explosions that happen, and they graduate up the explosions to get to the big one. Yeah, it's wild.
So we are going into space to control the explosions, right? And
we're counting. We're moving down.
We're moving down.
T-9.
4 brave people top this gigantic
Atop.
explosive device.
It really is, dude. There's something very much like watching monkeys play with an abacus about it all. You know, there really is
We're
nothing.
so advanced.
I think that adds to the bravery. Exactly. You know, we profess to be so advanced, and as Dave and I were talking before you got here, we know we have pretty solid evidence of technology much more advanced than this actually existing on this planet. So it's a curiosity. It's like a relic.
Well, we know this technology so well. We are now, as you said, we are now flipping rockets so that it can land.
Right. You know, Elon's just there coming back down and landing on the boat like it's nothing, man.
On a boat, on a platform that opens the arms and catches the rocket.
Yeah, the boat
they
is
land
just-
by themselves.
It's crazy. You know, compared to this, I guess, this process
This-
where we can't even reuse the rockets.
Oh, and they're going to be thrown into the ocean.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully they don't hit any chemtrail planes on the way down, and you know.
And you see, and they are completely enclosed in there
Gosh, here we go, guys. And so
until the capsule
T-minus
is released
7.
in space. They don't see anything.
yeah, the experience, man, just the human experience. The G's, I've
The
seen some
vibrations,
interviews.
the noise.
No, it just man, what a wild experience. They say that many of them, you know, experience blackouts until they then wake up and you find yourself weightless. To which then many of them respond by vomiting. I mean, just think of what your body's going through, dude. The G forces
Usually-
of a meteorite
Yeah.
in reverse.
Usually,
and-
you need a Chuck Yeager and say, "Oh, that thing might explode," and you'll go extremely fast. I want to go in it.
I'm all right at. Here, hold
Those
my
guys
beer,
that put
Earth.
themselves in barrels and throw
We are
themselves
headed,
on the
Dave.
Niagara
We're
Falls.
at T-7. There he is.
Oh,
There's your-
snap, we're
T-7.
counting down.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
atop of our controlled explosion of nitrogen and hydrogen in capsules, which will hopefully fall back down into the ocean, be unusable as we launch ourselves back around our nearest satellite, known as the Moon, for the first time in 53 years, allegedly.
Allegedly. I wanted to comment on something that you were saying, Jason, about alien hybrid programs. Look, I talked to Scott Walter for 2 hours. I talked to Paul Wallace for 2 hours. Both of these one episode's dropping on Friday. Scott Walter, Paul Wallace, 33 years in the church, best-selling author. Both these guys are best-selling authors. Both of them think that Jesus was an alien hybrid. And
By the way, and so that alien hybrid just wrote a note that Scott Walter found.
Well, I mean, I'd have to hear more about the details of that particular theory, because look, there's several things that they could mean that one could almost see, because certainly it's a non-terrestrial consciousness for sure. I mean, that's what God and the Bible and spirit and all of these traditions allude to, is a non-terrestrially based consciousness. That makes it ET. And then second, you've got this phenomena of, you know, has anything from away from Earth mixed with DNA here on Earth, and that happened in many biblical traditions. Enoch, right? When you've got the biblical edition of the Anunnaki, you know, the fallen ones, right? This foreign that mixed with Earth. So are they talking about that? Is it sort of a rectification of these two DNAs, the human and then whatever came from elsewhere? Those all I find interesting, and they go along with many theories we already discussed, such as antediluvian society and all of that. You know,
well,
but if they mean brought here in a ship and planted, I don't know. I got questions.
Scott read the scrolls. I don't even know how he doesn't have them in a safe right now, but he basically said they're out there, so it's doesn't need to be hidden. But he read the scrolls that they translated themselves, that they found, which is you know, but
well, they
that's
are
what Jesus
among
said.
the only people that can read that script.
In that script, he said he was an ET.
So what are we talking about here? Why are we behind? Are we behind right now?
I don't know, dude. Are we?
Oh, it did happen.
4?
Apparently, we are behind. That's okay.
Oh, shit.
I don't know
So
how that
that's
happened.
already happened.
Fast forward.
It did. It did already happen.
Sorry.
Sorry, guys. I don't know how that happened. Either way, we're having a fun conversation, so fuck it.
You bumped your mouse at some point.
This is
and paused
another
it.
launch. This is the real one. The other one was a fake.
So we're on lag. Yeah, we can still. You can fast forward to see it. All right, you're at T-2 there. Keep going.
I feel like I want to like hear the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
so let's play it. Sorry guys. 1 minute 36 seconds. Let's play it. Let's get the sound going. I don't know how the hell that happened.
Thanks. We're professionals. That's how it happened.
All right, there's the rocket's core stage.
Well, it's because I don't have Megan with me. I'm trying my best.
On its own power.
This is exciting though, either
There's
way.
no more hold time because there's no more margin on these batteries. So we would have to recycle back to T-10 to recharge. If we
I'm
had
glad I got the dread of wondering if it was successful out of the way, though.
Not me. I wanted to like.
batteries-
I wanted to happen real time.
1 minute.
The batteries only last 10 minutes.
Right now, the rocket does not know what the T0 is, but coming up
They
at
have
T-minus
to,
33
they have to
seconds,
reset
control
10 minutes
shifts from the ground
if
launch
they don't
sequencer
launch
to the rocket's
to,
onboard
to
autonomous
recharge
launch
the
sequencer,
batteries.
or ALS. The rocket will count itself
She
down.
said she tried to tell us.
Honor
I
any
was
holes that
going to
can
the
come from
bathroom.
ground.
Sorry, Tammy.
Now, shortly after liftoff, Houston will take control of the rocket, and my colleague Gary
At
Jarvis
least
for
we
the
know
course,
that everything
really.
went well so far.
Yeah.
And the conversation was brilliant.
The conversation was brilliant, and I've been trying to like, I'm a one-man show tonight, so I feel like I did. Well, Jason's here, helping me fill the air and having great conversation, but I'm running like 15 different tabs right now and stuff, trying to show you guys.
Yeah,
stuff.
and that sticking at 10 minutes just threw us all. We were like, hey, we got plenty of time. Let's get Ricardo in here and just, blab.
It's all good.
8,
We're going. Let's
As-
go.
As
The
it's meant to
fuse,
be.
the fuse of the explosive. Look.
4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition.
Let's go.
The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage
What's that part?
begins.
Oh, smoke blowing off.
That's the result.
Thank you,
of a
Tammy. You
Very
know,
big flame.
I've been doing my best here.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston now controlling the flight of Integrity on the Artemis II mission around the moon.
That's fucking wild.
Where are the flat earthers to tell us that all of this is a lie?
On time, passing 30 seconds into the flights. Integrity passes the alternate beacon. Target milestone.
It's incredible.
Good performance on board engines, space launch
Yeah,
system.
I mean, just everything that could go wrong. How it, as for as basic as it is, and we joke about it being a controlled explosion, still think if the human ingenuity that was applied to this was applied to some other form of technology. Yeah, it's an amazing feat, whatever it is.
I must have hit a damn mouse thing or something, so I apologize, but I'm still excited.
Mission elapsed time, passing 1 minute, approaching max Q.
On, possibly on.
Sarah, I thought you were going to go outside and watch it. You should have been telling us we were behind.
She did tell us we were behind.
Signal transfer confirmed.
Thank you.
Integrity and its crew
It's okay.
Nope.
We're still watching with all our friends, so I don't give a shit.
Integrity is 14 miles in altitude, 8 miles downrange.
Amen to
traveling
that.
More than 2,600 miles per hour.
2,600 miles per hour.
He doubled its speed since the last time he said the speed of it.
Gosh, man.
It's kind of funny, Dave. You have to. It is a little funny, and you know what? Fuck it.
1 minute 50 seconds.
Sorry, Sarah. We threw off her viewing it live.
Throttle down to 85%.
It's okay. I think the most important thing is we're viewing it together.
9-second mark.
Yeah.
I agree.
We see throttle down.
How do you get in on this? Like family and friends, I guess.
Confirm separation.
The fact is they are there
Throttling up,
and they are not seeing because they are all filming through the phone. So they're all looking at the phone instead of looking what they're there.
Yeah, that's so funny, eh?
Yeah.
It's like that with everything. You can't even watch a fucking rocket launch without looking at it through your phone, for Christ's sake.
I do like the views back to Earth.
Same.
Integrity, SM priming complete.
This is historic shit.
It is. It brings flashbacks just listening to it
Mission elapsed time
of
to the
youth.
Artemis
You
II
know.
mission. Thrusters on Integrity and upper stage confirmed in a ready state ahead of service module fairing separation.
So if anyone wants to help me, when was
3 minutes into
the
flight,
the
Integrity
last
49
launch
miles
to the
in
moon?
altitude, 78 miles downrange.
Oh,
Now
wow.
passing 5,000.
53 years, right? That's what the White House said.
53 years?
Manned.
So computers got smaller and engines more efficient, but we are using exactly the same technology 53 years later.
This is to cover up the fact that energy's free for everyone.
Yeah.
Could be free for everyone.
Plus, we'd already built it, bought it. So why?
Wow, that's so
everybody
cool.
likes the show. That is cool.
From the almost live from the Kennedy Space Station. How far are we behind? Not that far. I don't think.
Did they reach the moon already? Are we that late?
No.
Into the flight of Artemis II.
I think we're about 20 minutes behind.
Across the boundary to space with good comm checks.
Rubate says
The
Apollo
signals acquired
17.
After last jettison, now working on internal checks to verify accuracy. Flight dynamics officer analyzed the time of main engine cutoff, confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds. Time of MECO.
I just can't think. I can't help but think about the effects on your human physiology when you do this shit.
Insane.
Not only from like
3,000 miles an hour, man. Alone.
Yeah, not only from like a physics perspective, but like from a emotional, spiritual perspective. You know.
And they have so much confidence that they are going to make it that they don't show the insides of the cabin.
Yeah, I want to see the
show
inside.
us because it would be too traumatic to see the last moments if the capsule explodes.
Well, that and I think there's an unwritten code about some astronauts hold it together better than others during takeoff. Some pass out, some vomit, and there's sort of an unwritten code. I've heard them say that they don't share those things, even like telling stories about it. So
and others are banging in the capsule. Let me out of here! Let me out of here!
Right.
Well, that
changed my mind.
The truth is that happens. You don't have control over what happens to your body in a traumatic experience. Some people react one way, some people react another way, and you don't know until the time comes. Like my experience in the military, sometimes people during training were like Rambo, and then when the shit hit the fan, they froze. And then the pothead from Minnesota who like sucked in training turned into like a superhero. And so you just don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I do indeed.
I'm going to try to find geophysicist Stefan Burns talking about this live as well. See if we can get in on his thing. So they've been. I thought he was live right now, but I guess he's not. He was literally live streaming NASA all day, like from his own channel, which is kind of cool.
Shutdown plan to Flight Director Judd Friedling expected at the 7-minute mark.
Okay, so the capsule is still attached then to the
main.
main.
I thought they dropped it by now.
Expect nominal shutdown.
Jacqueline says, how long is the whole mission going to take? It's supposed to be a 10-day mission, Jacqueline, but then as Rubate says, the length of the mission depends on how long it holds together.
40 seconds of mission elapsed time.
Well, I would imagine that every bit of the math of the trajectory must play out in reality. And as Ricardo showed us with the moon going and then them going in that anti-clockwise circle back, it's just a lot of, it seems to me, precise maneuvering must transpire.
A lot of fuel. We need that oil, man. We need that oil.
Yeah, but the capsule only has so much fuel.
Throttling down.
So apparently China is already, at least according to news reports, on the backside of the moon harvesting hydrogen for those purposes to have fuel to go further than the moon or to come back from Earth, vice versa, whatever.
15,000 miles per hour.
15,000 miles per hour. This view is wild.
China gave us the high definition images
from the dark side, right?
From the dark side, from everything. They mapped everything. They sent 1 or 2 missions there just to film it in high definition, like a decade or so ago, or more.
Rubate says it's the same fear as the guys who went in on the landing craft in World War II. Some vomited, some prayed, some pissed themselves, and some turned into super. Not all of them had fear, Rue. Some people, for whatever reason, turn into Conan the Barbarian in those situations. So I've seen it happen in real time.
Screaming Valhalla.
Yeah, and you just don't know who it's going to be. You know, so in the wow, holy shit! Wow, what is this? Stage MECO and core stage separation.
So is that the tail bit or the whole tank?
We see the same on board, Stan.
I don't want to see this shit. I want to see the live shit.
There goes the capsule, disengaging.
8 minutes 40 seconds into the flight, we have a nominal main engine cutoff headed.
10 days in space is a long ass time if you're constantly praying you're going to get back home. You think?
Yeah, I guess kind of like being at sea, you know, you're just committed to the journey at that point. One day at a time.
So as you can see, they can show us real footage of the separation of the module, but not of the capsule.
Which is interesting.
It is. We're getting animation. That is odd.
Could it be that inside the capsule are 4 Atlas robots from Tesla?
I can't believe we missed the actual fucking launch. That's okay.
Dude, get over it. Or just let's be behind. Time's relative, man. Or just fast forward to the live and let's see where they're at.
I might fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Now reminding
see if they already opened the solar array.
So I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit to 26 minutes. I don't know what apparently they're 238,000 miles from to the moon and 766 miles from Earth at this point. Let's fast forward a little bit more. So we're not getting any live feed now at all.
Now again, this
we are 1,249 miles from Earth.
With flight controllers shifting on 3 shifts to oversee 24/7 operations of Artemis II while in flight. We will cover that live on NASA.
What's up, Jeff up north? We I was
Jeff. What's up, dude?
I didn't have a producer today. I was managing like 10 different tabs, and apparently we were late to the party. But we just saw the launch. Successful launch of a 10-day mission to the moon.
And to my colleagues, it was a pleasure to join the team
and
at the Kennedy Space
that's
Center
where we're at right
and be
now.
a part of such a historic launch here in Houston. Again,
and I was checking the feed to see if anything official was covering this, but the White House has used footage from Mario video games to, I guess, announce that it was successful.
So we're officially live here.
I'm not even joking. Can you
the
see
White House did what?
So we have, you can see the
the White House
just west of
the official post
the Philippines and the west coast of Australia. Where
can you see it's Mario and Luigi?
That's hilarious. Yeah. What are we looking at here, Ricardo?
Just,
do you know?
Seconds away from the time of ignition.
Well, I think this is if you consider the Earth behind, it's where they are. Ahead
it's got to do its wraparound and then it's slingshot out.
It's gonna slingshot once.
The ICPS firing.
I wonder how long that takes
to catch the moon.
So they slingshot around Earth twice.
Once, at least. Jason said he watched twice, but in the flight plan it only shows once.
Yeah, don't hold me to that. That was just a picture I saw earlier.
The thing is, it's such a precision flight to try and intercept the moon that is flying at an enormous speed around the Earth, and they are going straight at it. Any miscalculation, any 0.5 degrees or any difference in speed, any difference on where they start to decelerate instead of accelerating, because they have to stop braking at some point on what is called the neutral point. Any failure on that, and it's bye-bye Artemis.
Been completed and
right. Well, even to get through the Van Allen radiation belt, you mentioned that, Dave. Something that whatever conspiracy theories lean in. You have to. Well, it's sort of always, but it has thicker and thinner spots, is the way I read it today. And so again, this math has to formulate part of their trajectory is to hit that at the thin spot in order to not hit deadly or terminal amounts of radiation as they pass through. So yeah, it's everything. And that, dude, you didn't, Ricardo, were you here earlier? Were you watching when Dave showed the satellites?
Yeah, I'm going to show it right now.
The 3D representation of the satellites surrounding Earth.
This is all the satellites surrounding Earth. Every single one has to be part of the mathematical
every single public
equation.
one.
Public one, yeah. So that has to be included in the mathematics, right? Like they don't want to hit one of these fucking things. There's tens of thousands of them.
Yeah,
and now what about all these space objects? Go ahead, Ricardo. They're coming.
And now
in.
include the space garbage.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
That does include it.
And all of these meteorites that have been hitting that supposedly we didn't have any warning for. I mean, they've all been very shocking and surprising, right? So all of that too. It's just such an intricate process. But as Ricardo constantly points out, it's also just a controlled boom,
Yeah, it's basic technology in the it's math. It's a shitload of math, but when it comes down to it, it's pretty basic technology that we've been using since the 1960s.
Sets us on course
yeah, and basic forces such as gravity, and how we. It's wild to think that you have people saying there's anti-gravitational or anti-gravitic vehicles that exist on Earth, and right now we're looking at these people using fuels and direct fuels to try to control their use of gravity as they pass around the Earth and the Moon, to get that slingshot.
Yeah, but remember
what a disparity.
I just rewound it so we could watch it again, but...
Remember the famous footage of the module abandoned the Moon in the first mission? It only produced a few sparks. There is no fire. So that's why most people say they didn't went there, because there is no rocket, right? But if they actually went there and all we see is a few sparks, then they are using some kind of anti-gravity or magnetic-driven technology in order to eject the module from the surface of the Moon and send it back to the ship that is surrounding the Moon.
Of course, that footage reference could have been some of the propaganda footage and not the actual footage.
It's one of the most debated things. There is no rocket. You just see it lift off a few sparks, and it lifts off with no rocket, and it goes into space. So how does that happen?
How'd they get the film from the camera on the Moon that was holding?
No, the camera was they left the camera standing and transmitting.
They transmitted it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the problem with the original moon landing is really the propaganda stuff. Because they did that. Is this playing right now?
No.
Because they did that, it really eroded the trust. Here we go. And forever there will be holes poked in the official narrative, which is like, part of the problem.
Well, it's impossible not to, Dave. I mean, NASA, goodness, is a spy agency also, right? There's a reason the Space Force is, being united. So you have the militaristic aspects of all this coming together. But, to recognize that and then expect honesty from them and truth is sort of, almost your fault, right? The work we're doing with Mars and just seeing these photos, how whether or not they doctor them, and we do have evidence that doctoring of moon photos for sure has happened, they certainly don't comment and put them out in a very almost facetious sort of manner in an attempt to hide everything, right? Yeah. So expecting truth from them is sort of fool me once, right? Shame on you. Yeah. Fool me twice.
Yeah. Shame on me. Dave, can you get back to the moment where they lit the fire on beneath the rocket?
I can try. Yeah. It would be. Can you see the countdown?
It's just before the launch, so it's just before it's when they light the fires before letting the fuel come out of the nozzles.
Okay.
Because people might think that I'm exaggerating when I say that there are 4 people atop an explosive device, and you can clearly see from that footage.
So you think it's going to be right about here?
Yeah, it's just before the launch, just like 5 seconds before the launch. So let it run, and you will see.
The Indian
it's
moon
3 minutes.
pictures.
Give you 3 minutes. You have to go closer than that a little bit.
I'm just gonna let it go because it's hard.
Yeah,
it's
where
really
they
hard.
spark.
It's like a 9-hour live stream, so it's really hard to.
Oh, I see your point. I see your point.
Yeah. But
So
I don't know what
we're going to
Screwdriver's talking about, but he says NASA just released a video about their new warp ship, and then Rubate says the Indian moon picture showed the U.S. landers. What are you looking for here, Ricardo?
Okay, so they are going to. You see they're juggling with the nozzles, right? And that is from the engines will throw the nitrogen and the oxygen into the flames.
Okay.
And those flames will ignite the oxygen and the liquid nitrogen, right? And once they ignite, you see the explosion that takes the ship the first leap up, and then it's just continuous explosion and taking it to space, right? And so
it's right at takeoff.
It's not a ship that can start by itself. It needs to have a fire. They let the fuel start coming down the nozzles, an explosion happens, and then the nozzles has to hold that explosion and project this thing into space.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
That's what you're going to see.
The alien hybrid himself, Jesus.
All in order to manipulate gravity, right?
This is how advanced we are.
It's so weird.
Are you
Then
saying
we're
that
gonna-
facetiously, Ricardo?
No, I'm saying it factuously, if you want to. Because
We
that's
are pretty
exactly what we're
advanced
doing.
when it comes to this type of technology. Ricardo, do you think hid 0-point energy is available and this is just a big fucking show for us to flex nuts?
It's if that is true, then even the powers that we see or the powers that be that are visible are under that same hammer.
Yes.
Because that's what they're using. And I'm sure that if they were allowed to use something that wouldn't kill everybody that stands on top of it, they would use it. Right?
Yeah, you'd think.
If they have no alternative, which is very strange to me, because NASA has been developing new types of engines for the past 20 to 30 years. Where are those engines?
SpaceX as well. And other companies.
Tesla bettered this system in 10 years. These engines are like a fraction of the size that NASA is using, and they are equally powerful.
Yeah.
And NASA is supposedly the one with the money. So what's going on there?
It's a show. It's a flood in the zone. It's fucking spectacular. Okay.
And expensive.
Look. The sparks, the fire beneath it, and see the explosion. They start dropping the fuel. There we go. It explodes and starts projecting it to. Look at that. That's a controlled explosion of fuel to project you into space.
Have you ever like punctured a tank of gas? You know,
That's
like a little
exactly
tiny
it.
propane
That's
tank.
exactly
Same damn thing, just well mathed out.
The
and
thing is, the
controlled.
tank of gas will deform enough to explode in just having that flame coming out of the hole. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and here the nozzles are capable of sustaining that explosion for all of this time. And they only drop the exact amount of fuel so it doesn't completely disintegrate itself.
That's so insane.
It is, dude.
And then you
It's wild.
think about all the math and the timing, and they had to wait a
It's
few
incredible.
seconds for a fucking geomagnetic storm. They literally put it on pause for about 20 minutes.
So the
right?
storm did play into it that we mentioned at the outset. Yeah,
It did,
Stefan
yeah.
Burns.
Shout out Stefan. He called it.
Indeed.
The work that these people do with the tools that they have to do they have to work to put people into space, it's mind-boggling. These people are genius. The mathematics that this involves and the calculations, even computers take days to get results. Right? It's insane. And the level of mathematics that this involves and physics and so on and so forth. But
And also the
crew-
collaboration, right?
Yeah.
Like of tens of thousands of people contributing to this, right? Like people flipping switches and monitoring systems
And why? Because there is very
The
little
financing.
margin. There is very little margin for error. If these were engines that we could control instead of an explosion that we just set free, if it was a system that we could control, we didn't need all those calculations because we just flew there. Like it's like you driving a helicopter. You stop where you want, you go forward and back and up and down, and you hit your marker. In this case, they have no choice. Once they are launched, they have to go in the right direction. There is very little corrections that they can make, because if they spend too much fuel causing directions, they are not coming back home.
Right, they'll run out.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back to live. Hopefully, right now it's just taking a second, or they stopped because it's not loading. I'll stop sharing that for now until it loads. 10 days in space. What do we think about the psychological? Jacqueline was talking about that in the chat. The psychological toll, the physiological toll on these astronauts.
I think if we look for firsthand evidence, the first thing we do is look at the interviews of the astronauts who first went to the moon. I find that to be very interesting. You know, you can't necessarily extrapolate anything, whatever, foundational or concrete based on what they said, but their demeanor and, as you alluded to, the psychological effects they might be under were very obvious. You know, there was some sort of a cost to whatever occurred up there that was extracted upon these individuals and their perception.
Yeah, and there's this effect people get, Ricardo, that I wanted you to comment on, where people see when you're an astronaut and you're a human and you see the Earth as a living system from above it. It changes you spiritually, psychologically. It changes your perception, and it changes your physiology. It changes your biology, and people come back like different, right?
Well, I would say that some of us humans speaking, really would need to see that to understand what some of others are saying, that you live in a piece of rock that is floating in space, trying to catch a star and never doing it, because the idea of a circular orbit is completely fake. It doesn't exist, right? We are a series of planets doing a corkscrew path tugged by the sun. So it's not, we are not in a plane. There is no planets going around the sun. It doesn't exist. Although most people still believe that that's the case, it isn't. That isn't real at all. So when you see that fragile,
but that's what they told me in the 8th grade, Ricardo. That's how it worked.
But that's what they knew at the 8th grade. After that, it came out. More information came out. We now know that we are being tugged by the sun in a corkscrew rotation, right? With all the planets behind us and so on and so forth. And the moon's around the planets with creating mini systems.
Everything is in motion.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything
that's
is in
the
motion.
big difference than what the picture they gave us.
And so when you are faced with watching a small ball floating in space, it becomes very precious. It becomes not infinite. It becomes something that has a border. It has a limit. It has a certain amount that you shouldn't go over, because it's only that. It's only that little piece that you are watching through your window, right?
Yeah.
It's completely different from being on a plane that you can't see the whole Earth, or being in the ground or in the mountain that you can see just a little bit. You get the notion that it's a finite space with finite capabilities, especially in regards to sustaining life, especially human life, that is the most fragile of them all, because we made it so. So that's why I love that cartoon that shows the astronaut putting the flag on the moon, and to the right is the Earth being crashed by a meteor and it explodes. So it's the realization. It's the worst nightmare that you can have. There's no planet to return to. Now, regarding to these people, imagine what it is, 10 days. So let's divide this in two sections. It will be 4 days going to the moon, 2 days wondering if they actually got the right measures and they got to the point they should be, and then there is 4 days to return. The point is, the first 4 days they are very hopeful, but when the moment arrives that they know they will be able to get back home or not, and every decision that they make, every maneuver, every adjustment, every piece of fuel that they will use to start their journey back is the most tense of it all. Because once they are back, they know that somehow they will be able to get to the Earth, or we can send something to get them. But if they pass the moon, there's no technology on Earth to go and get them, because they're going way too fast.
Isn't this Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, basically? Like, it
on
didn't
that
work?
one, the problem was oxygen. They didn't have enough oxygen to come back.
And that's one of those variables that you're talking about when you get to that point. And if there's any miscalculation at all, you're fucked.
Yes, you are. There's no other word for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Proper fucked, as in Snatch.
Jay Quellen says the first ones were heavily coached, hard to gauge their real reaction. Yeah, you know, they were acting super weird. Everyone can say that for sure. They were feeling a certain way and saying something different. And that's really all you can tell from that.
Yeah.
Claire with blue hair says the women behind the math calculation in the 60s only got recognition for the trajectories and the work they did in the 2000s.
That's true.
It is.
Did we lose Dave?
I think we lost Dave. I was wondering if it was me, but it isn't me.
No, it's not. So something to, while we wait on Dave, something that you had said about, or David gave you the question about the seeing the Earth from above. Something else that I've noted, and that many of us humans, I think, already possess, is I heard an astronaut note too the particularity of seeing the Earth without borders. Right, we're so used to maps being forced upon us.
We are Earthlings, not anything else.
Right, we're always shown the Earth with borders, just always, our whole lives. And I heard an astronaut talk about the impact that had was seeing the Earth, and it really brought him that sort of singular connected consciousness. You know, we're talking about was seeing that those lines are fake, and the line you talk about on the outside of the Earth, the edge of life, is real. You know, and it's sort of the exact opposite of the image they give us growing up. You know, they show us all these lines and tell us it's infinite at the same time. It's weird. They invert it.
I've been with native people, and when you say, "Oh, but then you already on Canada," and it says, I don't understand that. What is that a separation between the land? We just used the land. There was no America or Canada. We just go where we needed to go.
Right.
That's it. And we completely lost it. We own the show now. We can say whatever we want because the master is that it's not.
It's hilarious, but it's so important, I think, especially these days, to any consciousness that wishes to view anything from a proper perspective. You know, you have to have that. You have to be able to envision the Earth in its entirety and without these imagined borders. You know, we talk about the chaos and everything that's being thrown at us, and this being another one of those things. You know, it's just like that. It's seeing through the propaganda, you know, that has been foisted upon us, that I think is important, you know, to just see it just as you see your natural environment and the way you feel about it and the way you engage with it. That goes on all over the whole Earth. It's the same.
We are now at a point where our countries, and I'm talking about Europe, and I think it's the same here, but are accepting vast amounts of immigrants, right? Yeah. But at the same time, if you are a tourist, they plug you with an enormous amount of questions. And they are worried that you can sustain yourself or not. But on the other side of the border, they're filling all these people. Most of them don't know how to read, to write, to speak the language. They have no particular set of skills. They will struggling to find some work, or they will be explored and slaved by their own that are sending them into the countries to explore them because they know that the natives of that country would not accept that, right? And the same thing that was done by in Brazil, the same thing that was done in so many other places, that is, These people are being imported from the lowest income and lowest educated areas, for instance, from India, right? And these people are.
We're still there. Thanks.
We're still here.
It's because Jason's logged in on Restream. I don't know what the hell happened. I had to restart my computer, but it is what it is.
Sorry, bro. That's the link you sent me. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's good. That's why we stayed connected.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, good.
My computer literally took a shit.
Excellent.
So just to finish, these people are brought in by the hundreds, put into warehouses, right? And then they give them a course that they need, for instance, to drive Ubers when they don't even have a license. They never drove a car in their lives, right? But we are forced to pass them in these courses because it's discrimination. I asked the teacher when I was taking my course for professional driving, and she said, well, they have to pass them because the fact that they don't speak the language or they don't understand English or Portuguese, it's discrimination. We cannot flunk a person because he doesn't speak the language that we want him to speak. Well, that happens in every course that everybody has to take.
It's because it's part of a nefarious plan, dude.
So
and
this
your
guy,
travel wasn't.
Yeah, this guy then will charge them for the travel, will charge them for the stay, for the food, and for the car. So they live for 5 to 10 years working with no salary. They are basically slaves, right? And there are so many that they just cross with one another. They have no license. They are driving. It's just insane. This is just one aspect of society, of what they're doing. So if we are eliminating the borders, let's eliminate them all.
Right. I mean, it's also more of a Dave. How we got here was I was leading Ricardo back to fill the air to your question about the perspective of seeing the Earth from outer space, and I'd heard one astronaut comment and something I think is important was how he was sort of system shocked by seeing the Earth without borders. Because of the way we're shown our entire lives is there's always a map or they always put the border overlay on it. And so for him that was just an opening of his perspective. Seeing the fact that we're all just here on this thing, not in with all these divisions they foist upon us. But Ricardo, what you allude to is because there's a plan afoot, and you talk about you've got more restrictions traveling than these immigrants. That's because, look, dude, your traveling is not what they want. Your traveling is about moving cultural expression, right? You're going around doing free thinking. You're exploring arts and you're doing things that are forward growing. These other immigrants that are being brought in, as you said, are to deteriorate the culture, not to expand it. And in your experience just echoes that in reality. That's what it looks like,
But the thing is, we are trying to not to fight it, but we are discussing the plan of these elites to create a global economy, a global world, a one world government, a one world order. But in reality, without all the nefarious things that includes that plan, that's exactly what most of us want. We want a unified Earth where there is no countries, where everybody has equal opportunities, because we are only one Earth. We are not this. Instead of countries, we should see cultures and respect them for that. Cultures, religions, customs, right? Because I see these people coming to to foreign countries. They are not trying to adapt the culture of that country. They intend to keep living as they lived in their own country.
That's what they do, yeah. But that's not how the United States was during the original immigration period. People immigrated to the United States and adopted the culture at first, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the way it's supposed to be. I cannot go to China and behave myself like a crazy
American. Yeah.
American, right?
Yeah.
I have to respect their customs, but they come to Portugal. I don't know what happens here, but they come to Portugal and they behave as they still live in the shitty conditions that they were living in their country, right? They don't understand what is garbage. They don't understand what is hygiene. They don't understand what is public behavior, because they never had those bases. Their culture is different, and they have no capacity to learn it or will.
Are those cultures, and I want to, this might be a little controversial. I'm not going to name any religions or specific cultures, but are they even compatible with, quote, Western culture?
No, so not compatible. That's why they create their own stores. They create their own religious places, right?
Yeah.
Because they can't mingle with the rest of the society. They are always at the margin. The problem is that margin is the only one having kids.
Yeah. Well, you go to places like in the big cities in like Ireland and Scotland and shit, and you walk down some of the main streets, and there's no Irish people.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, cultural differences that are, it seems, dramatically selected. I think you saw it play out pretty good in New York recently, where we're going to have the big prayer of the Muslims in Times Square, and you know that culture does not like dogs, right? They're not clean, and so at the same time, New York was filled with sort of this movement of dog owners that united to also have a dog parade through Times Square at the same time, you know. And to me, you saw two cultures that have a point of view along a particular item that is diametrically opposed, right? Like there is no, they think they're dirty and don't want to be around them, and even me, you know, you sleep with it, you treat it like a, part of the family. It's a very different way of viewing that one point. Not saying either one's right or wrong, right? Just saying that you see cultures that are in no way compatible.
That you only have dogs in case of emergency. You have something to eat. Okay,
they're your friends, Ricardo. Dogs are our friends.
They're friends, they're guardians, they're companions. They're when you're out in the woods and in the wild, they're also like a satellite, man. You know, like the map of the satellites you showed us. They're a satellite that if you have a bond and a connection with can serve as a perimeter for wild stuff for your safety, but also as an energetic perimeter for yourself. You know, there's a reason they've been by humanity's side for a long time, you know.
Is this, Ricardo, is this a effort to destabilize and then create because it doesn't seem like a good way to create a world government.
Leading to social chaos.
Yeah. So is that on purpose?
It is on purpose. Definitely. I don't see how it can't be, because governments are deciding against themselves. Right?
Yeah.
They are deciding against their own people.
Their own people, because their own people are saying no. And they're doing it anyway. And they're giving like bonuses and benefits to people that aren't from that country that people from the country don't get, and all that stuff.
It's like the double of the minimum wage to these people, right? It's like the people in the country we haven't solved the problems of our countries, and we are so magnificent that we are trying to solve the problems in other countries across the globe, the other side of the globe, when we have problems here to solve. There's people living in the streets. There's people that don't have what to eat.
Right.
And you're causing all that chaos with our own tax dollars, because we just send ours to other countries. I mean, you're welcome.
Sure. Like Portugal sending millions to either Ukraine or rich African countries with high corruption. Right, it's like the collection of clothes that they do every single year and donations for African communities. Right, you know what really happens, and this is the fact: those containers get there, and it's the officials that have access to those containers, and they select every single thing they could put in sale on their stores for the people to buy. Only like 1% of that actually reach the people. It's all a scheme. All of it. So but my final point for me to shut up is this: if we want to give an opportunity to these people that live in countries or in places that life is very subpar to what we experience in a more civilized world, why don't we better the world, right? Let's eliminate these borders and treat the world as one. Let's bring equality to everybody.
Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate you joining the chat tonight. She's out on politics. I don't feel like this is politics.
I'm not talking in politics. I never mentioned a political party. I'm talking about organize the human civilization. This is not politics.
Right. Yeah, I would agree, but I also understand that it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people. And it's one of those things like, to contextualize the grand scheme of things, we've got an effort to culturally destabilize the planet. We've got a fucking war going on. The military industrial complex is ramping up like nobody's business. We've got homeless people in our own countries. We've got fake Jim Carrey. We've got it really is the wildest time, in my opinion, that we're living through.
You have
in
England
human
being ruled
civilization.
by India, which is the most ironic thing you can hear. They had an Indian president, and now they have a kind of a majority of people in rule and in economics are of Indian nationality, right? So the sovereignty of England that had India for so many years under their tough jug, now it's the Indians are dominating the UK. They even have a mayor that came directly from India. It's not like a second generation or so on and so forth, right? So,
Good night, Tammy. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Claire with blue hair says, I don't currently have a job. I'm too normal and therefore don't tick the box for the stats required. Yeah. Jacqueline says, yes, in Canada, they make twice as much as a Canadian counterpart because the government kicks the difference to persuade the businesses to hire them over citizens. I grew up in Nova Scotia. According to my friends and family there, all of the grocery stores, all of the fast food joints are all owned by immigrants. And it doesn't even look like the same place I grew up in, according to, the people I talk to. And Canada is one of the worst for this. But to bring it all back into circle, we just watched a fucking rocket launch, okay, that was like they spent $1 gajillion on. While all this global destabilization efforts are happening in the middle of a goddamn war, supposedly at 9 p.m., Trump is going to talk to the people about something regarding the war.
1 hour, yeah.
Also, potentially we have scrolls written by the hand of Jesus himself saying that he's a goddamn hybrid. And that the this to me, that I've always known this, but like the New Testament was arranged by, the Romans to basically create a funnel of all the religions into one, and then make a one God who was masculine. And I'm just going around in circles here, but like, is this not, guys, the goddamn craziest time to be alive? I think it must be. It has to be, right?
well, I know that they are your guests, but I'm so conflicted by this association of people that I respect, and I learn lots from them, from Randall Carlson and help me with the name.
Scott Walter?
Scott Walter. This sudden association between these two personalities, apparently from two different worlds united just by the fact that they are both Masons, right?
Yes.
And to boast saying, because one is one man that is trying to fight all his life to be a man of science, to be accepted by science. Randall Carlson has been struggle with his evidence and in all his expeditions, his work, his wonderful work to show us that he is a man of science and what he says has factual basis, right? And all of a sudden he associates with Scott Walter that during a recording finds a flask on disturbed soil, and inside that flask there is some paper written by Jesus himself. This is to me, it's like a joke. If I heard it as a joke, I would believe it as a joke because it's so strange, it's so off. This association between these two people, and both claiming the same thing, that it is written by Jesus himself. It's off the charts.
Well, to be clear, in Randall's interview, he did preface the interview with he was neither supporting nor claiming.
Well, that's not how Scott Walter put it, because on his post, they both saying it.
On my interview dropping on Friday with Scott Walter, he reads the scrolls live to us. It was a really great interview, a really great talk. There was a lot of really good messages about how we move forward through this. And Scott, if you're watching, I love you, but like I have the same, questions, right? I'm open to this being real. But it's a lot. I'll put it that way.
Think of it this way. Imagine that the document is actually real, okay? But they just chose a very bad way to present it, like found in a flask and so on and so forth. Because they might have thought, how do we brought this to the public in a way that we attract it and we bring it to it? Maybe it's just that. They just chose a very bad way to do that.
So when I was talking to Scott,
I have to for a bit. I'll be back.
Yeah. When I was talking to Scott, Jason, he was very careful to say that these scrolls, it was important that these scrolls came out before the release of the Ark of the Covenant and the bones of Jesus Christ himself. And according to which the Templars claim to have. Right. So to me, Ricardo could be right that they chose this theatrical way of, doing it. And Scott Walter was the platform to do so. And it still could be real. No?
I mean, having learned nothing about the particulars yet, I think that the scenario you posit there, that the Templars were in possession of this stuff and had been looking for a way to put it out, and they found Scott Walter, who is also, as you said, Mason Templar, to be a sort of reputable and trustworthy way to get it out, and so they came up with face. Right, they came up with a staged jar theory. I think, based on just the minimals of what you've told me, it could make it an original source document. That does not necessarily make it, from the hand of Christ as put forth. I'd have to, whatever. I'm going to investigate and watch your show on Friday with everybody else, right? But anything that directs a soul to go inward and also is backing up, however, so the knowledge and the discussion around the fact that the religion, Ricardo's on the phone, that has been handed to us has been distorted through the hands of man in order to, in my mind, diminish the message and diminish the power. Then I think that's a healthy conversation, okay, to have, no matter what the particulars are. As far as what he said about seeing different people team up, to present this, I've noticed, but I've learned things. You and I met in Sedona, right, which was a collaborative team up effort of different independent content producers and whatnot, right? So I see a little bit of what's happening there with some of these alliances. I am certain there are some commercial considerations being made. For instance, if Scott's going to appear at Cosmic Summit, well, Randall's always appearing at Cosmic Summit, right? So these two would naturally sort of perhaps find a commercial union. I think that could be part of a lot of it, and one has to consider that when watching all of this material. But I don't know. I don't see anything nefarious in it. When I watched like Randall's conversation, he presented it, I think, pretty straightforward. He didn't say where he stood. He doesn't necessarily believe it, but he doesn't believe Scott Walter to be a liar, or somebody that would willingly put forth something that's false, meaning Scott believes it's true, whatever you want to make of that, right?
I do think, so from my talk with Scott, and I've talked to him twice now, on recorded interviews as well as in person. He's a showman for sure. I mean, that he's a forensic geologist, but he's also a showman, and they could have just chose that as the vehicle to deliver this message. And Ricardo wasn't happy with the vehicle.
With the mixing, right, of the faith aspect with all the science of
and well, the whole green jar thing, and discovered it, and as this is the vehicle to deliver these scrolls. And could that have been a show? Maybe. I mean, Scott Wolter's show America on Earth is one of my favorite shows. It's really well produced,
Right.
and it's really fun to watch. And
Right.
it's possible the Templars were like, let's try to deliver this message here. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's the ancient order of the Templars. There's lizard people, pedos controlling the government. There's the military-industrial complex. This is what it comes down to, man. It's really, really hard to believe what's true right now.
It's hard, it's hard. I mean, even with the Templar thing, I love and always have loved the Templar lore. I mean, when I played D&D at 8 years old, I was a paladin,
Me too, buddy. I love the
intrinsically
paladin.
fighting for the right and all that shit, I get into it, Dave. But, when I look at somebody, and I don't know, I've never talked to any of these people, but like Tim Hogan, who's out publicly claiming to be the Grand Master now of the Templars. All right, well, when did this version get set up? I mean, like for everything I can say, like they trace it back to like less than 100 years ago, and like actually this order that I'm head of was established. It's so... Just right off the bat, I got questions. I want to believe a lot of this stuff, especially the Atlantean tech, and all of that. But is somebody somewhere, when I picture the Templars, dude, up under Solomon and the way it's adventurously presented up under Solomon's temple, pulling out all these arcs, right? It's a marvelous story, right? And then you see Tim Hogan go on Y-Files and say, yeah, we've got them. They're in storage units and they're secure, right? For your brain to sort of translate that epic story that is ancient to they're sitting in a storage unit and we're going to release them, it's a big jump. It's a big jump for me to want to make and go along with, same thing with these scrolls, whether or not the particular person believes, right, that what they're saying is the truth, especially with these organizations and these secretive organizations, as the lightning goes off behind me, there's always going to be somebody above you. There's always going to be somebody with some agenda that you have to adhere to and respond to, right? So perhaps you believe what the guy above you told you, but that doesn't mean I should, right? That doesn't mean I shouldn't employ my critical thinking and go, this is so well timed. And you start presenting dates to me, and it's just the optics are intriguing. So I'm torn, man. I love the story. I like letting my mind play with the Lord of the Rings, aspect of all of it. But that doesn't mean I'm not watching everything with my trying to be objective and see it for what it is. But I'll end with this, Dave. I think any conversation that talks about getting people to turn inward, getting people to pay attention to the things that Christ, was saying, no matter where you fall in the rest of the Bible, I think the message is not perverted by saying he was telling us all to go inward, right? I think advancing that conversation is an excellent thing to happen in this day and age, man.
Well, that was the overall message of the conversation, and it didn't just come from Scott. It came from me and my contributions to the conversation, Megan and her contributions, Cody and his contributions, and whether you believe the the vehicle of the message. The end result was like a conversation about unity, a conversation about looking inward.
Nice.
A conversation about equality, but not in like a woke way, in like everyone's human kind of way. And we need to start looking at that as well. And it was also a conversation about the divine feminine and how that's been suppressed for the last 2,000 years. And for me, that was one of the most important things that Scott told me, and you'll see it on Friday, is that there was a deliberate and calculated objective to suppress the divine feminine, which goes against the original word of God himself. And for that, we're still paying the price today. And you have that, and then you have this like green jar situation, which for me, look, Jason, I fucking love a treasure hunt. Okay. Everyone loves a treasure hunt. All right. This motherfucker was showing us maps and stuff. And like, it brought out the 10-year-old in me,
I love it.
And, maybe, look, when it comes to information like this that totally changes the paradigm of the last 2,000 years, maybe you do have to package it in a way that hits home to the childlike wonder that we all have somewhere inside us, that's covered up by all the adult plaque of trauma and bills and crazy shit on the internet. Okay. Maybe that's the best way to deliver the message. A goddamn treasure hunt, Jason.
I get it, right? Like you're harping on my strings, but is it the best way? Look, we've been talking about NASA all night, and what happened with one lie? What happened with one lie?
Yeah, it destabilizes.
Okay, so if you've got the truth, don't give it to me wrapped in a lie. Okay, so if we're saying that this was staged, that we're trying to say this scroll is real, but maybe perhaps the way it was presented is formulated to have the proper impact, then all I have to say to you is that the truth doesn't require lies, right? Bullshit does. The truth doesn't require anything; it stands of its own accord. So, whether or not, whatever the intention is, if you package something in the lie that you want me to recognize as truth in a lie, you're starting off on the wrong foot.
It's an erosion of trust. Yeah. It's like we have to be told a children's story in order to understand the truth, right?
Yeah, and I mean, at a certain point, why do we need more from Jesus? Why has that got to be part of the story? I mean, it was all laid out pretty clear. We've even got Dead Sea Scrolls where we can get, slightly more, perhaps accurate, versions. You've even got the Gospel, of Mary, right? That goes directly to the heart of what you're saying. There's quite a bit out there for anyone willing to explore what were the actual messages, of these people under and without the adulteration by man. So yeah, it's a lot, Dave, but I'm going to watch the show because of what you said, right? Look at me. I treasure hunt, man. That's what I do. I can't come home without a piece of something cool and some driftwood that I found out there. I mean, I love it. Right. And whatever we started this with being, are we adults who know too much? So I'm always going to view it with that completely disengaged. I'll allow myself to have fun with it. Right. Because that's part of being here, man, is enjoying this stuff and finding things we love. But when it comes to augmenting a paradigm, I'm going to begin with wrapping it in a lie or a false presentation is not the way to get a paradigm augmented, because you need something questionless,
Yeah. So we just watched this launch, NASA Artemis II. It was spectacular. It was weird. We were a little late watching it. Sorry to the chat, but everyone who hung in with us, I really appreciate it.
It was great, man. I think we've had a great, even though we were a few minutes late, everything has happened as it was supposed to, Dave. I think this has been a great conversation, regardless of the launch, which makes for good content. Folks could watch this back,
Yeah. I don't know how long Ricardo's going to take, but
I've got 50 watching us on X, man. Hey, cheers, guys. Thanks for sticking here with us.
You do. Outstanding. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't checked my X yet.
You've got 55. I've got 49 on X.
Interesting. I have 85 on YouTube. Part of me thinks that if I don't stream on X, everyone will go to my YouTube instead, but probably not.
I'm just trying to get the information out, man. I figure it all counts,
Yeah.
You know, Dave, we make the right decisions and we just try to get the right things out there, and everything else will find us. I mean, that's part of this authenticity thing I was just harping on, man. You know, it's an authentic age we're coming into, and with all these psyops and this chaos and everything that is unfolding, which we've been talking about all show, it is authenticity. It is your insight, your intuition, your heart, and people who rely on their own authenticity that are going to shine through, Dave. And you're doing that here, sir.
Thank you, brother. I wanted to say this Demon Slugger watching from your channel. He said, was a great watch, loved it, thanks, and didn't miss a thing in the launch. It happened on our own timeline. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, Demon Slugger. Love the name, man.
Yeah.
You got to take your Louisville Slugger to these demons.
I do. And I got to say, having Ricardo jump in and explain some of what the fuck we were looking at was pretty helpful.
It ain't a whole nother layer to it. The technical aspect, as always, brought so well by Ricardo.
Well, you know, we were doing fine, just us, but, you know, Ricardo was in there saying some shit that we didn't understand.
Did not understand. Can you show me?
Yeah. And look, everyone, as Jacqueline said, where are we at? I want to try to find that.
Jay Quills.
About paying the price for the divine feminine, suppression of the divine feminine. She said, not still paying the price, it's reaching its apex of consequences. And we see that as we head into the age of Aquarius, right? It's... we're going to experience biological, physiological, geological, technological, spiritual changes in the next 10 years, probably, to which we can't even possibly imagine. And it's happening right now.
We're talking about spirit, man, which is non-sexual, non-divisive, right? So when we come here, it is to have the experience of both male and female. And if you start with reincarnation as your basis, as many of the early Christians through evidence obviously did, then you're going to realize that experiencing both is part of the growth process and is inherent in the design. So by shutting one side of that down, we are shutting ourselves down, we are shutting society down, and we are inherently shutting the Creator's plan for this place down.
Boom.
Dangerous stuff.
And that's the control system that was put in place 2,000 years ago, you know? And I just want to shout out.
Or whenever the council on deciding the text was, right?
Yeah. It was probably more like 1,800 years ago or something like that. But shout out to the Institute for Natural Philosophy, Jason Huffman, Ricardo Calvario, Sarah, Jacqueline, Universe Unveiled. Check out their podcast. Shaman and Philosopher. Check out their podcast. All right. Shaman 711. Find him here. See it down below. I do want to shout out my boy, geophysicist Stefan Burns. Interviewing him tomorrow about the energetic changes of the planet in relation to this change into the age of Aquarius, this rocky road we're about to go on, where we all need to, we're on right now, which we all need to look inward on, and we all need to see what's in front of our face versus what's being shown to us. I'm looking forward to talking to him, and that episode will drop in a couple weeks. Support the multiverse, like and subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot of bangers. I'm not even doing this anymore, okay? Mike, Brittany, and I started this, and now it's just going. I really don't have any control over it at all. I couldn't even stop if I wanted to.
King David. Yeah, that kingdom is taking off, isn't it?
Hey, sponsored by Spores MD. Support your mind, body, wellness journey. Get 20% off your spores and your grow bag. Shaman, psychedelics are going to be a part of this growth.
Yeah.
Exploring we've talked about this before, man, but it's not the only way to explore your inner world, right? But it is one tool that can help you, right?
Yes, when everything else is you've seen to and you're correctly aligned and you're well grounded and established, the best a human can be in both the spiritual and material within yourself, then yes, when you start wanting to go a bit further in bridging the actual reality of this place, then these are tools, man, and they're excellent tools that do so much for us. We've done whole shows just listing the benefits of some of these things on your entire organism, not just your consciousness level.
Hey, I was shrooming all afternoon, so there you go.
There you go, man. So your cells are going to live 50% longer. Yeah, the effects
Support
are
the
incredible.
multiverse. Get your copy of my editor's new book, Deja Vu, Has Everything Already Been? In Search of a Previous Lost Civilization, Alexander Cheskevich. And that's actually a good lead in to Sunday, right? We got a fun thing going on Sunday, right?
So Easter Sunday, we're going to do our Mars Disclosure Live. We're going to get together with the folks you see here, with a lot of the folks we just mentioned, and we're going to look further into this Mars Disclosure project, which, as we said at the outset, guys, it's worth your time. Once you start taking a peek, you're going to see it's like everything else going on in this world. Pull a string, and just a basket of surprises falls out at you.
Yeah, a basket of surprise falls out at you, and there's a network of hardworking people that do not belong to any institution, that are scouring this stuff related to Mars. Brian Corey Dobbs, the face behind the engine that's being driven, Blue Planet Red. He's been featured on a couple of different mainstream news channels talking about anomalous features on Mars. And look, I'm not saying there's pyramids on Mars, but there's fucking pyramids on Mars, okay?
Just use your eyes. Use your eyes.
There's dozens of them.
There's a lot of them, man. And you're right. The independent researcher aspect is what got myself and Ricardo into this whole Mars project in the beginning. Was, being independent researchers, we were interested, and we saw such genuine examples in Brian Corey and John and in others who are diving into this Mars topic of their own volition. Yeah.
So Sunday, 4:30 Eastern, we're gonna have a panel for our, I think, third Mars Disclosure Live, where we're gonna be talking about the reaction of the mainstream media to some of this stuff, because a lot of this is going viral right now.
It really is. The timing's incredible, dude. It's perfect.
Yep, it is. It's perfect, and that's why I really love the Mars Disclosure Live thing. It'll be available we're going to stream live from like 5 different channels and 4 different X channels. Yep. It's going to be all over the place. So please tune in to Mars Disclosure Live. Ricardo's still on the phone. I wanted to give him a chance to say goodbye. But we got to cut this off. We've been going 2 hours, 50 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for the chat. And thank you, everyone. And Jason, man, this was fun. I love hanging out with you. I love opportunities to bring you into the multiverse, brother. You're a shining star, a shining light in all this chaos. I just absolutely love how you spend most of your time outdoors, barefoot, the way we've meant to be. And that you bring to the world, you mentioned this earlier, just a handful of people just mentioning to you, hey, Jason, you inspire me to spend more time outside. Yeah. That's what going inward is. Being being outside is part of that. Yes.
It truly is, Dave. And listen, thank you, brother, for saying that. And in return, what I'll bat back at you is there's a saying that is, if your career does not excite you, it is a sure sign to abandon it. And I have no desire whatsoever to bail from doing anything with you, bro. I always find it fun and exciting, and I think we're putting out some good content. I think a lot of good information got put out today. Whether our timing was off or not, I think it was divinely where it was supposed to be. So thank you, man. This was a great time.
Everyone, as always, thank you so much for joining the multiverse.
Peace and blessings.
Scott Walter signed my book, In Light, and light is truth. And we literally create the universe by observing light. So maybe we are the creators, and maybe the creator is all within us. Screwdriver Tuning says, Scott Walter, new video, Story of the Scrolls, coming out Friday afternoon. So please check it out. Peace out, Jay Quellen, my dear friend, a long-term friend. I've known her for a long time, and
Y'all grew up together, didn't you?
Pretty much, yeah. We went to the same elementary school. In fact, her and I used to get pulled out of class in 4th and 5th and 6th grade to do like I don't know what you want to call it, enrichment stuff.
I bet you did. So you're both products of the gate system. I see now. Okay.
Well, I just remember being on like a computer, and we only had like 3 in the whole school or something, and Jack and I would be out there doing problem solving and shit like that, while everyone else in the class was doing something else. So yeah, we did grow up together. We've known each other a long time, and you know what those ladies are putting out into the world with the Universe Unveiled. I'm only going to take one little slice of credit, just one. But that name was I half came up with that name. The word unveiled came from me. What those ladies are putting out into the world right now, we need more of that. Okay,
we do. We
need more of that. So everyone, go ahead, check out Universe Unveiled. Ricardo, are you back?
I'm back. I'm sorry. Work called forward, and I had to.
No worries. I'm gonna throw on the more outro music, and then we'll kill it. Ricardo, final words, brother.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And we are all very hopeful that these 4 humans will be brought back to Earth with a different perspective, and let's hope that this experience it's edificating for all of us, and not just for some big corporation that is trying to change our perspective or focus our attention in something.
Amen.
And maybe we can all get together for the re-entry, depending on the timing. It might be at 2:00 in the morning, so
but we have to make a re-entry after the re-entry, otherwise it's not fun, because we did.
Yeah, we'll do it late. We'll do it late. Are you guys about to go live right now?
Not immediately right now.
Yeah, no. I don't think we are. We got to at least take a break and talk about whether or not we may do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are you guys gonna do?
I was going to talk about some of the videos I put out, which are on my X. I've been putting out just little tiny snippets. I've been doing a lot of recording that I'm not putting out because I've got sort of a larger picture in mind now of something I'm working on, and I'm just throwing it out in pieces. So I was going to talk and show some of that, and I'm sure he can say what he was going to do.
I was just going to follow him.
Okay, there you go.
Because I'm seeing wondrous, spectacular things and being shown and so on, but I can't talk or show any of it. So that's why I don't touch much of the subject, because I can't show it. So
right.
might as well don't talk about it. So.
I have a hunch that Jason's been going for almost 3 hours, and maybe this will happen tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do this, and we have to have Yorgos again, because we've been
George Sakalaris did. So you guys recently dropped the Pharaohs magazine episode. Yeah. George had a contribution to that, did he not?
He has a permanent chronicle in it. He's our philosopher. He's our resident philosopher in the institute.
Yeah,
I love that.
We should do that, dude. Go ahead with that whenever. If we want to do that with our next show tomorrow, I don't care.
I need to bring him back on. He's been on my show. He's a friend of ours. He used to feature our merch in his store, his online store, but I have to get him to take it down because it still says Mike and Dave's Multiverse on it. But George, if you're watching, love you, buddy. Hopefully get you back on the show. In light, look inward. Love you, everyone. Peace and love. Let's call it a night.